Chapter 211. Jia Lingwei reacted quickly. As she felt a man's aura, she immediately knew that she was being held in the arms of a man. She subconsciously raised her hand towards Ning Cheng, who was holding her. But after she made her move, she immediately knew that her move was wrong, as the other party was trying to save her. Not waiting for her to take her hand back, Yan Ji's hand had already reached out to block Jia Lingwei's attack. She and Ning Cheng had fought back to back, and the moment she was held in Ning Cheng's arms, she immediately knew that it was Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had saved her, so how could she let Jia Lingwei make her move? Elder sister Lingwei, senior apprentice sister Ji, what are you doing? Zhang Sun Yan looked at Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji, as she asked in a puzzled manner. Just a moment ago when the two of them were fighting, she had already seen it. How could the two of them who were being held in Ning Cheng's arms still fight? On the contrary, the multicolored light flashing behind Ning Cheng made her forget to ask about it. Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji had already been put down by Ning Cheng. Both of them were cultivators at the great circle of the profound congealing realm, although they had fought until now, and their true essence was almost exhausted, but they were still able to stand up. Jia Lingwei's face immediately turned red, as she quickly cupped her fists towards Ning Cheng and said, "Many thanks senior apprentice brother Ning for coming to our rescue." Ning Cheng nodded, indicating that he accepted her thanks. Jia Lingwei's gratitude towards him was something that she should have. He really did come here specifically to save them. Although he also wanted to obtain the Blood River Red Lotus, but if it was only for the Blood River Red Lotus, then there was no need for him to rush here. Thank you senior apprentice brother Cheng. Yan Ji quickly cupped her fists and thanked him. In her heart she was still shocked as to how Ning Cheng was able to come down from the Blood River. It was just like teleportation, but what kind of cultivation level was needed to teleport? Moreover, a teleportation cultivation method was not something that anyone could obtain. If it was not teleportation, then Ning Cheng must have used a flight-type cultivation method. One had to know that the suction force of the whirlpool of the Blood River was much stronger than the whirlpools in the Law's Way. Because of this, in order to reach the top of the Blood River Peak, one could only climb up from the Blood River Peak, and could not use a flight-type magical weapon or a flying sword to fly up. Even if Ning Cheng had used a flight-type cultivation method, how could he not be sucked into the Blood River? Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, "Since everyone already knows that I am called Ning Cheng, then junior apprentice sister Ji can just call me Ning Cheng." At this moment, the veil covering Yan Ji's face had long since disappeared. While Ning Cheng was speaking, he was also secretly startled by Yan Ji's beauty, although at this time Yan Ji's face was covered with sweat, but it did not affect her beauty in the slightest. A few strands of hair were stuck to her cheeks due to the sweat on her originally perfect and beautiful face, adding a bit of a human aura to her perfect oval face. Although both of them had the same peerlessly beautiful face, Ning Cheng felt that Yan Ji had a much more warm and gentle aura compared to Nalan Rushue. This was definitely not because of Nalan Rushue's bad attitude towards him, but because when he saw Nalan Rushue's eyes were tightly closed. No matter how beautiful a face was, with its eyes closed, it would lose a bit of vitality. But Yan Ji not only had big sparkling eyes, but there were also a few strands of hair sticking to her cheeks, making people feel that she was a bit more real. As soon as he saw Nalan Rushue open her eyes, he found himself in the face of being hunted down. How could he have the leisure to appreciate a beautiful woman? No wonder she and Nalan Rushue were known as the Look Continent's twin lotus flowers. It really was the case. Seeing Ning Cheng staring at her, Yan Ji's face turned slightly red. If it was someone else, she would have already flared up, but she had a very good impression of Ning Cheng. It was because she knew that she was too beautiful, that was why she wore a veil over her face. This was the first time that Ning Cheng had seen her appearance, so it was normal for him to be a bit stunned. Ning Cheng was indeed stunned for a moment, but in just a short period of time, he was able to recover. He had seen a lot of beauties in this place, moreover he had already seen 3 beauties of this level including Yan Ji, as such he did not forget himself. He stared at Yan Ji but did not speak. It was not because he was shocked by Yan Ji's beauty, but because he was comparing Yan Ji and Nalan Rushua. Ning Cheng quickly realized that he was being somewhat rude, as he quickly spoke up, "Initially junior apprentice Sister Ji had helped me, so it is only right for me to help you out. Junior apprentice Sister Ji and I will go and change our clothes. Yen, you should also quickly change your clothes." Jia Lingwei had already noticed that Zhang Sunyan's lower abdomen had completely disappeared, exposing her pure white skin, but she was still not aware of it. "I know." Zhang Sunyan spoke a few words, but did not know where to go and change her clothes. The part of her lower abdomen that was exposed was originally gray in color, but after Ning Cheng held it in his arms, all the dust was wiped off by Ning Cheng's clothes, turning it white and clean, and was even somewhat conspicuous. Ning Cheng glanced at Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji, who were also not wearing anything to cover their bodies, and said, "You should also go and change your clothes. I will go and see that Cheng Yixiao." On earth, clothes that did not cover one's body was simply too normal. Some of the young girls in the prime of their youth wore tattered jeans, or deliberately wore a shirt that exposed their lower abdomen. There were simply too many girls who swaggered around with their navel, as such he was simply accustomed to it. Among the peaks of the Blood River Mountains, although Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could not sweep out further, but the range that he could see was much larger than Yan Ji and the others. At this time he saw that Cheng Yixiao was surrounded by a group of Blood River otters. Moreover, Cheng Yixiao did not go up the Blood River peaks. At the foot of the continuous Blood River peaks, there were also some winding paths. The place where Ning Cheng and the other two people were standing at, was the path at the foot of these peaks. But they did not have any Blood River otters here, as such Cheng Yixiao was blocked by the Blood River otters. "Ah, senior apprentice brother Cheng and the others are coming over." Zhang Sunyan called out in alarm, but found that Ning Cheng had already gone far away. "What are you so nervous about? When you and Ning Cheng came over a moment ago, why didn't I see you being nervous?" Jia Lingwei gave Zhang Sunyan a blank look, while simultaneously arranging a simple shielding array formation. Zhang Sunyan suddenly opened her mouth, but unexpectedly could not find the words to refute. Speaking of which, Ning Cheng was still a person who was regarded as a devil cultivator. After the three people changed their clothes and came out, they did not see Ning Cheng coming back. "Hey, why is big brother Ning not here?" Zhang Sunyan asked in a puzzled voice. "Senior apprentice brother Cheng is coming over." Jia Lingwei suddenly spoke. Sure enough, just as her voice fell, Cheng Yixiao had already appeared in the line of sight of the three people. Yan Ji took out a veil and put it on her face. At this time Cheng Yixiao had already arrived in front of the three people. "The three of you obviously came from a different direction. How did you arrive here earlier than us?" Cheng Yixiao, on seeing the three of them, asked in a somewhat puzzled manner. "Greetings senior apprentice brother Cheng, it is because the three of us took the smaller path." Yan Ji quickly cupped her fists and replied. Zhang Sunyan impatiently asked, "Senior apprentice brother Cheng, did you see Ning?" "Oh, senior apprentice brother Cheng Xiaoning." After she said the word Ning, she saw Jia Lingwei glare at her. She instantly reacted, and quickly changed her words. Cheng Yixiao originally did not know about Ning Cheng. Now hearing Zhang Sunyan ask about Ning Cheng, he quickly spoke up, "I saw him. It was elder brother Cheng who told me that you were here." To be honest, elder brother Cheng's mind really makes me feel ashamed. When we escaped alone, when elder brother Cheng saw me, he did not ridicule or scold me, but instead told me that you were also here. Thank the heavens, elder brother Cheng is safe and sound. What about him? Yan Ji quickly asked. Cheng Yixiao's eyes dimmed as he spoke. It seems that he disdained to be associated with us, and left by himself. Before he left, he asked me to help junior apprentice sister Zhang Sunyan. If not for junior apprentice sister Zhang Sunyan leading the way, he would not have been able to find this place. I guess that he should have also gone to look for the Blood River Red Lotus. Saying that, Cheng Yixiao seemed to have thought of another thing, and quickly added, "That's right, after we came here together, we all dispersed to look for the Blood River Red Lotus." I found that the Blood River otters here attack in groups. It would be very difficult to find them alone. It would be better for us to form a team. Jia Lingwei's mind was very meticulous. She knew that what Cheng Yixiao said was correct. Previously, they had tried it. If there were a few more people, then while they were restraining the Blood River otters, they could also send people to collect the Blood River Red Lotus. Otherwise, if they dragged on for too long, they would have to wait for the high tide of the Blood River. At that time they would not be able to obtain the Blood River Red Lotus, and would have to work hard in vain. At worst they would lose their lives. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, what do you think? Jia Lingwei looked at Yan Ji. Yan Ji spoke without hesitation. I want to go and see where Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng is. If possible, I want to form a team with Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng. I also want to form a team with Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng. Zhang Sun Yen quickly spoke up. She was afraid that Jia Lingwei would not form a team with Ning Cheng. Jia Lingwei on seeing this, apologetically spoke to Cheng Yixiao, Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng, Senior Apprentice Brother Xiao Ning has already saved us twice. My thoughts are similar to Junior Apprentice Sister Ji's. I want to find Senior Apprentice Brother Xiao Ning to form a team. Cheng Yixiao sighed and spoke, actually, I also want to form a team with Elder Brother Cheng Ah, but he might not be able to bring us along. The key point is that he might be a devil cultivator. I am afraid that it might affect the Wu Nian Academy. Yan Ji sneered and spoke, if a 9-star academy was destroyed because of such a small matter, then the existence of this 9-star academy would not have any meaning. Cheng Yixiao on hearing Yan Ji's words, sighed and spoke, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji's words are reasonable. For an academy to be able to stand tall for such a long time, there is indeed a reason for its existence. But now it is different. Now the I Ching mainland's 9 continents academies and the I Ching Ocean are at peace. Not only that, the two sides are also cooperating. If some of the enemies found an excuse for some of the academies, they would even pull in the cultivators from the I Ching Ocean to attack them. If I were not the son of Cheng Yishui, I would rather break away from the Wu Nian Academy and make friends with a hero like Cheng Xiaoning. Ning Cheng was in a good mood. He already knew where the Blood River Red Lotus grew. The Blood River Red Lotus grew on the summit of the Blood River Peak, and if one wanted to collect the Blood River Red Lotus, one would have to climb up the Blood River Peak. The suction force above the Blood River was very strong. If one were to fly above the Blood River, they would be sucked into the Blood River if they were not careful. This would be somewhat difficult for the others, but Ning Cheng was not worried about it. His twin heavenly cloud wings would help him solve this problem. If Yan Ji and the others knew that Ning Cheng intended to use his twin heavenly cloud wings to collect the Blood River Red Lotus, they would definitely come out to stop him. Unfortunately, they did not know that Ning Cheng had actually collected the first pair of Blood River Red Lotuses through the twin heavenly cloud wings. The Blood River Red Lotus appeared in pairs. They were incomparably beautiful. The lotus leaves were red like a maple leaf, while the lotus flowers were a rose red, and exuded a faint fragrance. At this time, Ning Cheng was surrounded by a group of Blood River otters at the edge of the Blood River Peak summit. This group was different from the Blood River otters that Yan Ji and Jia Lingwei had encountered before, as the Blood River otters surrounding Ning Cheng had already sprouted a pair of wings, which completely locked Ning Cheng in all directions. Chapter 212. Senior Apprentice Sister Lingwei, why did you also come here? Taking advantage of the gap between Yixiao and Yan Ji, a few more people came over. The one who asked the question was Nalan Rushue, who was walking in the middle. She was accompanied by 4 male cultivators and a female cultivator, all of whom were from the Wu Nian Academy's team. Zhang Sun Yen gave a snort, while Yan Ji did not even bother to say a single word. Only Jia Lingwei smiled and spoke, we are also here to look for the Blood River Red Lotus. What a coincidence. Cheng Yixiao knew that the Look continent's twin lotus flowers did not have a good relationship with each other. As such he quickly spoke up, you came just in time. The Blood River Red Lotus is something that a person would find very difficult to collect, as such we should form a team. As for the collected Blood River Red Lotus, everyone would distribute it according to their contributions. Now everyone should come with me to that side. I saw that elder brother Cheng is also going there. After saying that, he turned into one of the forks. Seeing Cheng Yixiao taking the lead, the rest of the people followed suit one after another, even Yan Ji also followed suit. Senior apprentice brother Cheng, are you talking about that devil cultivator Cheng Xiaoning? Naylan Rushue whispered in Cheng Yixiao's ear. Humph, you are a devil cultivator. Zhang Sun Yen finally could not bear it, and spoke out against Naylan Rushue. Blood River Red Lotus. Before Cheng Yixiao could reply, several people simultaneously called out. Both of the Blood River peaks in front of them had Blood River Red Lotuses, and each peak had a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses. These lotuses were incomparably tender and beautiful, which made people want to rush up and dig out the pair of Blood River Red Lotuses. Although the Blood River Red Lotus grew in the Blood River peaks of the Blood River Mountains, but everyone knew that not every Blood River peak had a Blood River Red Lotus. After so many years of collection, the number of Blood River Red Lotuses was decreasing day by day. Although some of the peaks of the Blood River Red Lotuses would grow again after being collected, but it was an incomparably long process. The people here will be divided into 2 teams, 2 of you will follow behind me to block the Blood River Otters, while the rest of you will go to the other Blood River peak. As Cheng Yixiao finished speaking, he immediately took the lead and rushed towards one of the Blood River peaks. The path between the Blood River peak and the Blood River was very narrow, so not many people could go up at once. His team, plus Naylan Rushue's group of 5, already had a total of 6 people. Cheng Yixiao, along with 2 late-stage profound congealing cultivators, rushed up one of the Blood River peaks, while another early-stage profound core cultivator, along with the other 2 people, rushed up the other Blood River peak. It was quite normal for Jia Lingwei and the other 2 to not be able to keep up, as they had not agreed to form a team with Cheng Yixiao. After seeing the Blood River Red Lotus, he couldn't immediately form a party, right? However, Naylan Rushue did not follow them to help collect the Blood River Red Lotuses, which made the Yan Ji trio unable to understand what was going on. Senior apprentice Sister Ji, although I do not care about what you think of me, but the 2 of us are often mentioned by others, moreover we are both from large academies. If Rushue has done something wrong, I apologize to you here. Also, Junior apprentice Sister Yan, I don't know why you also have a problem with me, but I hope that you can explain it clearly so that I can understand what is going on in my heart. After the few of them went to collect the Blood River Red Lotus, Naylan Rushue calmly looked at the Yan Ji trio and spoke. Her tone was flat. It was obvious that she did not really want to apologize, but rather she felt that Yan Ji, as a senior apprentice sister, did not have the demeanor of a senior apprentice sister. The way she spoke and the way she acted were all filled with a trace of childishness. They were the Look continent's twin lotus flowers on one stalk, and were often talked about by others. Once something happened, perhaps it would spread out that the 2 academies were not on good terms with each other. I have a problem with you. The Wu Nian Academy has such a big reputation, but I am not a member of the Wu Nian Academy, so why must I be nice to you? Zhang Sun Yen was already suppressing her anger. Now that Naylan Rushue had come to her door, how could she let it go? Naylan Rushue was obviously a lot more tolerant than Zhang Sun Yen, as her tone was still very calm. The Wu Nian Academy is a 9-star academy, it is not something that I said. As for the matters of the Wu Nian Academy, it is something that the academy's elders and the academy head should worry about, it has nothing to do with a small disciple like me. Besides, I also did not ask you to be nice to me. Although I, Naylan Rushue, am not a great person, but I will not take the initiative to put a warm face on a cold butt. Seeing that Jia Lingwei was about to speak, Zhang Sun Yen spoke up without any trace of politeness. I am not convinced that you borrowed a knife to kill people, and even went to plot against senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng. Senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng risked his life to save you, but not only are you not grateful, but you even plotted against him, and even slandered him. Is this something that you, a person from a 9-star academy, would do? Didn't he just touch your chest? That senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng also touched my chest. Did you see that I did not call out to plot against him? Not to mention me, even if it was senior apprentice Sister Ji and elder Sister Lingwei's chest. Did you see them clamoring to plot against him? Are your breasts worth so much? Are they not made of flesh? Are they made of best quality spirit stones? Ah! Nailan Rushue stared at Zhang Sun Yen in shock, although Zhang Sun Yen was very young, but the way she spoke could not be so irresponsible. Moreover, the way she spoke was completely different from when she had first met Zhang Sun Yen. Seeing Jia Lingwei looking at her speechlessly, Zhang Sun Yen knew that she had slipped up, and had even mentioned Ning Qing out. Fortunately, this Nailan Rushue did not necessarily know that Qing Xiaoning was Ning Qing. Originally this matter was already over, but now that Zhang Sun Yen mentioned it again, Yan Ji's face suddenly turned red. Jia Lingwei suddenly broke this extremely awkward atmosphere and spoke, "Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, that Ning Qing, you really misunderstood him. You should have been saved by him. Yan is just a straightforward person, I hope you don't mind her." She was very depressed in her heart. How long had Zhang Sun Yen followed Yan Ji? Her words were just too outspoken. What? Nailan Rushue was surprised as she spoke those two words, but she did not have time to speak more, when Yan Ji suddenly rushed towards a blood river peak in the distance. "It's Big Brother Qing!" Zhang Sun Yen cried out in alarm. She hastily brought out her magical weapon to rush over. Ning Qing was surrounded by an inexhaustible number of blood river otters, and in desperation, he could only bring out his true cosmic devil axe. As soon as the true cosmic devil axe's axe line was brought out, it immediately aroused the demonic aura that filled the sky. Originally there were countless blood river peaks here, and each of the blood river peaks had a blood river surging over them, giving off a sound that shook the heavens. Wanting to discover that Ning Qing was fighting with the blood river otters on top of an inconspicuous blood river peak, was something that was very difficult to do. Now that Ning Qing brought out his true cosmic devil axe, even if he did not want to be discovered, it would be very difficult. Jia Lingwei grabbed Zhang Sun Yen and spoke, Yan, are you crazy? You are only at the early stages of profound congealing realm. Do you want to court death by going up? I will go over, you and Rushue can wait for us here. Zhang Sun Yen immediately sobered up. Her cultivation was simply too low, even if she went up she would not be able to help. But she immediately thought that Jia Lingwei's true essence had long since dried up, and quickly spoke up, Senior apprentice Sister Lingwei, you also cannot go up, your true essence has already dried up, and has not yet fully recovered. There is no need to go up. Jia Lingwei stared blankly at the distant blood river peak surging with water. She knew that the blood river peak was already at high tide. If she went up now, it would definitely be too late. Senior apprentice Sister Ji. Zhang Sun Yen cried out in alarm. They found that Yan Ji who had rushed out before had already disappeared. When Ning Qing was forced to bring out his true cosmic devil axe, he knew that he had to retreat. The surrounding aura of the blood river was surging, it should be the high tide soon. Ning Qing was ready to wait for the blood river's tide to pass, then it would not be too late to start. The axe line's berserk killing intent swept out. Even if those blood river otters were able to fly, under this kind of berserk killing intent, they simply did not have the ability to resist, and were instantly killed by the axe line. After Ning Qing chopped out with his axe, he simultaneously retreated. He knew that if he continued to go up when the tide was at high tide, even if he had the twin heavenly cloud wings, it would only be courting death. With a flap of the twin heavenly cloud wings, Ning Qing glided over the top of the blood river. A powerful suction force came from the bottom of the blood river. It seemed as if it wanted to suck Ning Qing into the blood river. Ning Qing was not worried, he just increased the frequency of his twin heavenly cloud wings. He already knew that flying over the blood river would produce a powerful suction force, but he only needed to increase the frequency of his twin heavenly cloud wings. But this time the suction force was like a broken dam as it rushed towards Ning Qing's body. Ning Qing's heart immediately sank. He knew that his understanding of the Blood River Mountains was not correct. This suction force was more than 100 times stronger than before. not to mention that he crazily fanned the twin heavenly cloud wings. Even if he desperately fanned the twin heavenly cloud wings, he would not be able to block this kind of terrifying suction force. Boom! A huge wave of the blood river rushed over. This wave directly swept away Ning Cheng, who was being sucked down by the blood river. Yan Ji at this time had just rushed to a place close to Ning Cheng. She knew that the blood river's tide had begun to rise. At that moment she saw Ning Cheng being swept away by a huge wave of the blood river. Not waiting for her to panic, the next wave had already rushed towards her position. Chapter 213. Ning Cheng had already heard that the water of the blood river was extremely corrosive. Now that he had nowhere to escape, his first reaction was to enter the mysterious yellow bead. But at the moment when the waves came crashing down, Ning Cheng did not enter the mysterious yellow bead, rather he used his true essence to prop up a shield. Once the true essence shield could not withstand the blood waves, he would then enter the mysterious yellow bead. This blood river mountains had many disciples from the major academies. Once the mysterious yellow aura was exposed, he would definitely be guessed. Although he was a devil cultivator, but his reputation was not good. In the absence of benefits, he would not take the initiative to attract the attention of some powerhouses. But if he exposed the mysterious yellow bead or the mysterious yellow origin aura, then even if he escaped to the ends of the earth, there would still be people chasing after him. More importantly, he did not know if he could enter the mysterious yellow bead, but the true essence shield would definitely be able to support it. What made Ning Cheng feel relieved was that the water of the blood river did not seem to be much different from ordinary river water. Besides the fishy smell, everything else was the same. He was able to support a true essence shield in the water when he was at the early stage essence building realm, but now his cultivation was more than 100 times stronger than before. Even if the true essence shield was impacted by the blood waves, it would not have much effect on it. Feeling the blood-red waves flowing outside, Ning Cheng's mind was actually thinking about something completely unrelated to the outside world. Being washed into the blood river did not seem to be a great thing, even if the blood river was very corrosive, but if the true essence shield could block the blood river, then what kind of threat would it pose to the cultivators entering the law's way? Why did Zhang Sun Yen make it sound so terrible? She said that once he was swept away by the blood river, then even his bones would not be left behind. Even if he was swept away by the blood river, wouldn't his bones not be left behind? Something that could be blocked by just a true essence shield. Ning Cheng believed that the cultivators who fell into the blood river would also be able to do the same. Under the tumbling of the blood river, Ning Cheng could only feel himself being dragged down. Once he resisted, and tried to force his way up, then there was a possibility that the shield would be torn apart. But if he continued to tumble down, then the force on the shield would be small, and would not break. Ning Cheng was a bit depressed in his heart. If he had known earlier, then he would have asked about it clearly. The suction of the whirlpool in the blood river was also divided into strong and weak, so he was not able to collect a pair of blood river red lotuses, but he was brought to the bottom of the blood river. Not knowing for how long, Ning Cheng felt as if his surroundings had become empty, as his feet finally touched the ground. The suction force and the waves of the blood river had completely disappeared, and there was only black sand under his feet. The small ones were the size of peas, while the big ones were the size of fists. What surprised Ning Cheng was that this place was incomparably empty. Even his spiritual consciousness could not find the edge of this place. Moreover, what was even more frightening was that there was no spiritual chi in this place at all. It was not that the spirit chi was thin, but that there was no spirit chi at all. It was even worse than the cultivation environment on Earth. The light in the surroundings was also dark red, as if it was reflected by the color of the blood river. It seemed lifeless. Ning Cheng carefully took a few steps forward, and found some bones under his feet, along with some fragments of magical weapons. Ning Cheng's heart suddenly sank. He had already imagined such a scene in his mind. Falling into the blood river was actually the same as being teleported here. However, there was no spirit chi here, no living beings, no way out, not even sound. In a place like this, there was no other way but to die. Even if he didn't die, he would go crazy. No wonder Zhang Sun Yan said that the corrosive nature of the blood river was very strong. Perhaps all the people who fell into the blood river would be transferred here, and then in this place where there was no spiritual qi and no way out, they would slowly wait for their death. Not even a single person would be able to come out. Ning Cheng looked up at the sky. It was still covered in a dark red color. He simply could not know what was behind the dark red color. A feeling of being unable to breathe made Ning Cheng feel depressed and irritated. He had to get out of here. Otherwise, he would rather die in this place. Ah! Zhang Sun Yan stared blankly at the blood river that was still rolling in the distance as she screamed out in alarm. It was only after a good while that she muttered, "Big brother Ning is gone. Elder sister Ji is also gone." The relationship between Nalan Rushue and Yan Ji was just ordinary, so when Yan Ji disappeared in the middle of the blood river, she did not have the same kind of sadness that Zhang Sun Yan had. Rather she asked in a puzzled manner, "Big brother Ning? Is it Qing Xiaoning?" She saw that Yan Ji was going to save someone, so she asked about it, but after she asked, she felt that something was wrong. Sure enough, Jia Lingwei sighed and said, "Qing Xiaoning is Ning Cheng, he is the person who saved you." What? Nalan Rushua exclaimed, and then immediately spoke, "How is this possible?" Ning Cheng at that time only had the cultivation of essence building realm, but Qing Xiaoning, he could already. Nalan Rushue did not continue, as she thought of the connection between Ning Cheng and Qing Xiaoning. Before, if she did not know that Qing Xiaoning was Ning Cheng, then she would not have thought anything about it, but now that she heard that Qing Xiaoning was Ning Cheng, she immediately became aware of the many similarities between them. If Qing Xiaoning was really Ning Cheng, then when he said that he had saved her from the hands of two profound congealing cultivators, it would not be strange at all. Thinking that Qing Xiaoning was able to deal with dozens of profound core cultivators by himself, and was still able to escape unscathed, even if his cultivation was only at the essence-building realm, how could he be afraid of two puny profound congealing cultivators? Thinking of the extremely flat tone that Ning Cheng had used to explain himself, Nalan Rushue did not dare to believe that it was true, as she subconsciously spoke up, "If he was really wronged, then he should have desperately tried to explain himself to me. Why was his tone so flat? Moreover, did he not even care if I believed him or not?" Zhang Sun Yan's eyes were a bit red, and even more ruthlessly spoke, "Big brother Ning simply does not care about your gratitude. Do you think that he was trying to coerce you into repaying your kindness? You are looking at the wrong person. Do you think that you are very beautiful? Elder sister Ji is much more beautiful than you. If big brother Ning wanted to like someone, then he would definitely like elder sister Ji." Jia Lingwei waved her hand at Zhang Sun Yan and spoke, Yan, don't speak like that." Rushue did not mean it. At that time it was normal for her to be misunderstood. "Rushue, can you explain the situation at that time? Let me see what exactly was going on." At this time Nalan Rushue's mind was bursting with bursts of explosions. If Ning Cheng was really the person who had saved her, then as Ning Cheng had said, to say that she was ungrateful was simply too light. The truth behind this was something that only she understood. Ning Cheng had said that because she was ungrateful, he had wasted a life-saving magical weapon. Now that she thought about it, Ning Cheng's life-saving magical weapon was definitely that escape talisman. Thinking about it a moment ago, if Ning Cheng had this kind of talisman, then would he have been swept away by that blood wave? Nalan Rushue no longer had that kind of calmness and self-confidence from before, as she spoke in a somewhat bewildered manner. "At that time there was an accident in the Angry Axe Valley. I was sent out from the Angry Axe Valley, but just as I landed, I was attacked by someone and fainted. Even as to who attacked me, I did not see it. I guess, it should have been done by an acquaintance of mine from the Angry Axe Valley. Later when I woke up, I saw Ning Cheng pressing his hand on my chest. Nalan Rushue did not need to say anything. Jia Lingwei and Zhang Sun Yan already knew about it. Originally she had always regarded Ning Cheng as a pervert. Nalan Rushue had never thought of any other reason. But now that she started to doubt it, she suddenly felt that there were a lot of doubts in this matter. Jia Lingwei sighed and said, I know about the matter in the Angry Axe Valley. After the accident, the location of the transmission was very messy. What I want to ask you is, when you woke up, how long had it been since you came out of the Angry Axe Valley? It seems like a few days. Nalan Rushue's face turned pale. Jia Lingwei did not speak again, but Nalan Rushue already understood. If Ning Qing really wanted to do something to her, then how could he wait until she woke up? During the few days that she was unconscious, even if he did it 100 times, it would not have been enough. But the fact was that she was safe and sound, her body was not violated at all. Senior Apprentice Sister Lingwei. Nalan Rushue's words were a bit dry. She suddenly felt that she was very shameless. She could imagine, when Ning Qing was speaking to her, in his heart, he despised her as a woman. Fortunately, Master Shu did not kill Ning Qing, but thinking that Ning Qing had used up the escape talisman, which led to him being swallowed up by the blood river, it showed that Ning Qing had also died in her hands. Jia Lingwei patted Nalan Rushue's arm and spoke, Junior Apprentice Sister Rushue, Ning Qing is in trouble, you owe him, as such there is no use in feeling guilty about it. Ning Qing had initially rescued you from the hands of those two profound congealing cultivators. If you know about them, then go and see if those two profound congealing cultivators were killed by Ning Qing. If not, then you can help him kill them in the future. Moreover, there is also the matter that Ning Qing has not completed. In the future you can help him with it, and make up for your unintentional mistakes. In fact, it is not only you, don't you also owe Ning Qing? I only know that one of them is called Sikong Kai. Nalan Rushue's mind went blank as she spoke. She suddenly did not know what she should do next. Sikong Kai. I know this person. Cheng Yixiao's hearty voice arrived. He was in a good mood, as he had already collected a pair of Blood River red lotuses. Hey, Junior Apprentice Sister Zhang Sun Yan, what's wrong with you? Where's Junior Apprentice Sister Ji? Cheng Yixiao soon felt that the atmosphere was not right. Zhang Sun Yan's eyes were red, but Yan Ji had already disappeared. Jia Lingwei spoke with a sad tone, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji has been swept away by the Blood River. Cheng Yixiao's mouth opened wide, and only after a good while did he speak to himself, what the hell is going on? Jia Lingwei had no choice but to speak about the matter of Yan Ji going to save Ning Qing. Hearing that Ning Qing and Yan Ji had been swept away by the Blood River, Cheng Yixiao gave a long sigh, as he gave a deep bow towards the Blood River peak where Ning Qing had been swept away and spoke, Elder Brother Cheng, whether or not you are a devil cultivator, you are the role model for this Cheng Yixiao to follow, please accept this Cheng Yixiao's bow. Seeing Cheng Yixiao bow, the two cultivators behind Cheng Yixiao also cupped their fists and bowed in respect. Their lives were saved by Ning Qing. Now that Ning Qing had fallen, it was only right and proper for them to pay their respects to Ning Qing. Jia Lingwei and Zhang Sun Yan, the two of them also bowed towards the Blood River peak where Ning Qing was located. Only Nalan Rushue was completely at a loss. Jia Lingwei on seeing this gave out a dark sigh in her heart. She knew that Nalan Rushue would not be able to solve this knot in her heart, and would only be able to reach the profound congealing realm in the future. Seeing the other three people in the distance also collecting the Blood River red lotuses, Jia Lingwei was just about to propose to leave, when she suddenly heard Nalan Rushue ask, Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng, I would like to ask, how did you know Sikong Kai? Who is this Sikong Kai? Cheng Yixiao pondered for a moment before replying, I met Sikong Kai at an auction. At that time he was together with his Dao companion. His Dao companion was Heng Jiaojiao, who was on the same airship as us. At that time I was still at the intermediate stage profound congealing realm. As for his origins, I am not clear. Hearing that Heng Jiaojiao was Sikong Kai's Dao companion, Nalan Rushue was completely stunned, as she came to a complete understanding. Chapter 214. Ning Qing once again wandered around for 7 or 8 days. He once again met 5 or 6 similar cultivators. All of them were emaciated, but all of them were in the same state, studying array formations. Just when Ning Qing felt that it was strange, his spiritual consciousness unexpectedly swept towards a cultivator. Just like him, a cultivator walking through the black sand. Looking at the actions of that cultivator, Ning Cheng was sure that the other party's attainments in array formations should be higher than his own. At least that cultivator already knew that this place was an array formation. If he wanted to get out of this place, then he must first figure out this array formation. However, Ning Cheng's heart quickly turned cold. This person was dressed in rags, looking even more sloppy than the most sloppy beggar on the street. Not only that, but his body was as thin as a bamboo pole. If Ning Cheng had not seen a storage ring in his hand, he would have really suspected that this person was not a cultivator. The current Ning Cheng was exactly the same as the cultivator he had seen a moment ago, walking while gesticulating, while at the same time muttering a few words. Ning Cheng's idea was good, but he forgot that a lot of people who took drugs had the same idea. They all thought that they were stronger than others, and could free themselves at any time. In fact, they all overestimated themselves. It was as if he had not heard Ning Cheng's question at all. While walking barefoot, he kept muttering. Ning Cheng had already been walking in this empty and silent black sand for 2 hours, but under his feet, other than bones and the wreckage of magical weapons, there was nothing else. Within the range of his spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng simply took out a chair and sat down. In this way, Ning Cheng continued to deduce one array formation after another, as the number of array formations in his mind grew more and more, and the array formations also grew bigger and bigger. These array formations seemed to have been drawn out in his consciousness, one after another, as they went on and on. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was constantly searching for information from the surroundings, while at the same time constantly deducing and simulating one new array formation after another. Ning Cheng randomly thought about it. Maybe one day, he would also become one of the bones here, and then someone would take out a chair and sit on top of his bones. One by one, the array formations began to link up in Ning Cheng's mind, causing this vast and empty land of sand to gradually form a miniature within Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Even if Ning Cheng explained it to her, would she believe it? In fact, Ning Cheng's explanation in the Dragon and Phoenix Academy was already very clear. As such she had never believed a single word spoken by Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng had stood at the entrance of the canyon and said that he wanted to completely uproot the blue stone doors, and kill all the profound core cultivators blocking his way, would she have believed it? Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, are you all right? Cheng Yixiao saw that Nalan Rushue's complexion seemed to be a bit strange, as he quickly asked. However, when he had completely deduced this confinement array, he realized that in order to open this confinement array, he had to first unlock another concealment array. Ning Cheng soon discovered that as long as he flew higher than a certain height, he would immediately be suppressed. And no matter how long he flew, the environment was the same deathly stillness. After flying for 10 days, Ning Cheng finally put away the flight-type magical weapon. He felt that something was not right. Even if this place was huge, even if he flew continuously for 10 days, it would still be impossible for it to be endless. Ning Cheng was ecstatic, as he immediately stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings and rushed forward. Under the boundless sands, there was nothing but emptiness all around. He was sitting in the middle of the sands. If he were to draw a picture, would it also become a work of art? Senior apprentice Brother Cheng, I want to ask you a favor. Nalan Rushue suddenly spoke to Cheng Yixiao in a solemn voice. Cheng Yixiao did not understand what Nalan Rushue meant, but he was a forthright person, not to mention a junior apprentice sister from the same academy. Even if an ordinary person asked him to do something, he would also help them. Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, please speak freely. We are all disciples of the Wu Nian Academy. What is there to ask? If I can help you, then I will definitely help you. Big Brother Ning said that sometimes what you see with your own eyes is not necessarily the truth. I never understood this truth before. It was only after Big Brother Ning told me that I came to know. Sure enough, what you see with your own eyes is not necessarily the truth. She had personally seen Ning Cheng telling Heng Jiaojiao to fuck off, causing her to feel disgusted in her heart. As such she took the initiative to help Heng Jiaojiao. But the fact was, Ning Qing knew that Heng Jiaojiao was a nefarious cultivator, as such he was helping her. Naylan Rushue immediately gave a start. As she sobered up, what was she thinking? Was this the time to compare himself with Yan Ji? Immediately Ning Qing shook his head. Perhaps he had not reached the end of his lifespan, and had already gone crazy. Looking at this person gradually walking away while talking to himself, he did not continue to follow this person. He knew that this person had been studying array formations for a long time, and had already turned crazy. What was different from the other cultivators who were trying to deduce array formations, was that the eyes of other people who were trying to deduce array formations were getting dimmer and dimmer, and finally even turned turbid. But his eyes were getting brighter and brighter. Moreover, from the first month since he came here, he had been constantly throwing out array flags. Without array flags, he could casually refine one out. No wonder Ning Qing, who had disguised himself as Qing Xiaoning, had called out to Heng Jiaojiao to get lost. She could easily guess that Ning Qing had saved her from the hands of Si Kong Kai and Heng Jiaojiao. Ning Qing did not know what he should do at this moment, not to mention that he was not in the mood to cultivate. Even if he was in the mood to cultivate, he would not dare to cultivate. He was a cultivator, and there was no spiritual qi in this place. Once his spirit stones ran out, what would he do? Fortunately, the mysterious yellow bead was a good fortune object, and the mysterious yellow origin was an origin aura. Even if Ning Qing used up his brain, as long as he was not a lamp without oil, the mysterious yellow origin would be able to barely help him support himself. In terms of deduction ability and computing ability alone, it could be said that no one in the entire I Ching mainland could compare to Ning Qing. At this moment, his brain was like a top-notch computer running at high speed. The various positions of the confinement array formation, as well as the positions of the various formations, were quickly figured out by him. Moreover, in that cabin hall, not only did she not help her savior Ning Qing, but instead helped Heng Jiaojiao. If she behaved like this, then it could be estimated that in Ning Qing's eyes, she would not even be a scum. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years passed by. The ability to calculate and the ability to remember were the two main elements of array formations, and he just happened to have both of them. What's more, he also had the mysterious yellow origin. Presumably, with the help of the mysterious yellow origin, he would not fall into a state of mental confusion, right? Senior apprentice Sister Rushue, I used to hear others say bad things about Big Brother Ning, and misunderstood him. But after being together with him, I came to understand that he really is not the kind of person that others said. Please believe in Big Brother Ning. At that time, maybe it was because of some other reason, that made you misunderstand Big Brother Ning. After hesitating again and again, Ning Qing decided to start deducing this array formation. He added a restriction to himself. Once he fell into it, he had to quickly stop deducing, and wait until his mind was clear, then he would continue deducing. There might be some cultivators here who had a higher level of array formation than him, but Ning Qing believed in his deduction ability. He believed that as long as he had enough time, his level of array formations would definitely rise. Ning Qing walked a little closer, and finally heard what the cultivator was saying. The encirclement occasional wind, the shape is sharp, the first benefit is the guest, the color is dark red, it is the sun. Ring cloud array, the clouds are attached to the sky, the red is the vibration. At this time, Ning Qing had also turned into a disheveled-haired, ragged cultivator, but he was still deducing the array formation. During this period, he would pass by some cultivators, but no one cared about him, and he also did not care about others. She once again remembered the words that Yuing had said to her. But if he did not find the exit of this array formation, then he would have to stay in this place forever. Ning Qing was a grade 3 array formation master. As such, when he heard those words, he immediately understood that this person was studying array formations. In the past few years, only Grey Toot Toot had been loyally following behind Ning Qing. Even if Ning Qing gave him a lot of pills, Grey Toot Toot had no choice but to eat them sparingly. In this place, if there were no pills, then it would directly starve to death. Perhaps he could continue to practice alchemy, but even if he continued to practice alchemy, it would not be of any use. If he finished refining the spiritual grasses, then what would he do? Besides, if he could not go out, then what was the use of practicing alchemy? Go into seclusion. He only had 5 million spirit stones on him. These spirit stones for him would soon be used up. Senior apprentice Sister Wuxia, you must have misunderstood Big Brother Ning. Big Brother Ning is not that kind of person. I and Big Brother Ning have lived in the same house for a year, as such I am the clearest about what kind of person he is. If he was that kind of person, then I would have already been. This friend, may I ask if you were also sucked into the blood river maelstrom? Ning Cheng had not yet arrived in front of this cultivator, when he immediately called out in an excited voice. I had previously fallen into the hands of Heng Jiaojiao and Si Kong Kai, and was almost destroyed. That Heng Jiaojiao also came to the law's way. I would like to ask Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng to come across Heng Jiaojiao. If you can restrain her, then let me ask her a few questions. Naylan Wuxia bowed and requested. Ning Cheng was in such a situation. As soon as he entered the state of deducing the array formation, his consciousness immediately manifested a confinement array formation. When this array formation appeared in Ning Cheng's consciousness, it gave Ning Cheng a kind of feeling, that is, as long as he could deduce this array formation, then he would be able to get out. 3 months passed by. At the same time, he also came to understand his current position. He was definitely in the middle of an array formation. This array formation might be a natural array formation. If one day he could figure out this array formation, then he might be able to get out. If he was unable to figure out this array formation, then he would be just as pitiful as that person who had just passed by. Cheng Yixiao raised his eyebrows, as he spoke in an angry voice. This person actually dared to lay her hands on my Wunyan Academy's disciple. Even if Junior Apprentice Sister Wuxia did not say anything, if I knew about this matter, then I would never let her off. She did not believe the words spoken by Ning Cheng, but why did Yan Ji believe it? Moreover, she even took the initiative to stand up and help. Was the disparity between her and Yan Ji really so far? Maybe I can stay here for another 200 or 300 years. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. The maximum lifespan of a profound congealing cultivator could be up to 400 years old. 1 month passed by. If not for the mysterious yellow origin aura supporting Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness, then even if Ning Cheng's ability to deduce things was countless times more powerful than others, he would not have been able to escape the fate of getting lost. The only difference was that Ning Cheng was really still deducing the array formation. He had not lost his sanity. He was not like that cultivator from before, who was only subconsciously doing it. Even if he did it for a lifetime, he would not be able to wake up. Moreover, he would also not be able to figure out the real exit of this array formation. Ning Cheng did not continue to look around. He even suspected that there was something strange about the array formation in this place. Once he fell into it, then he would not be able to extricate himself. Ning Cheng sat alone for most of the day. Before he put away the chair, he decided to first figure out whether this place was truly endless or not. Chapter 2:15. Yan Ji was sitting at the edge of a small lake in a daze. This small lake was the only place with water in this endless black sand. Moreover, it was a pool of stagnant water. Because this lake was artificially created, the water in the lake was also condensed out by everyone using a magical technique. This was the only place where people lived in this black sand. Moreover, there were at least 30 cultivators living here. Every few years, a few of them would fall, but there would always be new cultivators coming in. A place without spiritual chi, without any vitality was enough to make people go crazy. If there was no sound, then no one would be able to live in a normal state for hundreds of years. Some of the cultivators who fell into the blood river gathered together, and established a gathering place. In this place, it was not to resist other monstrous beasts and the like, rather everyone lived together, and talked to each other. At least they could have a spiritual sustenance. All the cultivators who lived in this area were relatively rational, and knew that if they relied on themselves to deduce the array formations, then they would not be able to deduce anything. Therefore, they chose to live in this place for the rest of their lives, and muddle along. At least compared to falling into madness, it was much better. Yan Ji's luck was good. She and Ning Cheng had used the same method to enter this place. What was more fortunate for her, was that in less than half a year, she found this place. Moreover, there was also a senior apprentice sister from the Blue Cloud Academy here. This allowed her to quickly integrate into this small circle, and became one of the rational people in this black sand. Junior apprentice sister Ji, falling into the Blood River and finding this place, you are already very lucky. Don't think too much about it. Maybe one day a genius will fall here, and open the array formations here, then we can all go out. You are already at the great circle of the profound congealing realm. First think of a way to advance to the profound core realm, and then slowly wait here. If our lifespan comes to an end, and we still can't go out, then it is also our fate. A woman wearing a grey robe walked to the side of Yan Ji and sat down, as she slowly persuaded her. She was the senior apprentice sister Xiang Jilan that Yan Ji had met here. Since she fell here 100 years ago, her cultivation had not risen. At that time she was at the profound core second level, and now she was still at the profound core second level. Senior apprentice sister Lan, when you fell here, did you regret collecting the Blood River Red Lotus? Yan Ji suddenly asked. Xiang Jilan pushed her long hair back a little, as she looked at the pool of stagnant water in front of her, and spoke in a leisurely manner. It would be impossible to say that I do not regret it. Every time I gather the Blood River Red Lotus, there are always a lot of cultivators who fall into this pool. No one knew when the Blood River tide would rise. Moreover, once one was sucked into the Blood River whirlpool, it would be very difficult to escape. I think all the cultivators who could enter this place are considered lucky. At the very least, they won't be corroded by the Blood River. Xiang Jilan had a gentle temperament, although she had been trapped in this place for more than 100 years, but she was not anxious at all, as such her appearance did not look old at all. As she spoke till here, she gave a faint smile and spoke, Junior apprentice sister Ji, for you to ask me this question, is it because you regret collecting the Blood River Red Lotus? Yan Ji shook her head and spoke, I did not fall down because I wanted to collect the Blood River Red Lotus. I came down because I wanted to save someone, but in the end I did not manage to save that person, and ended up in this place. Also a disciple of our Blue Cloud Academy. Xiang Jilan immediately reacted at the person that Yan Ji had saved should be someone from the Blue Cloud Academy, otherwise she would not have taken such a big risk to save that person. No, he and I are not very familiar with each other, but... Yan Ji really could not find the right words to describe her relationship with Ning Cheng. Xiang Jilan looked at Yan Ji in a puzzled manner for a good while before she spoke, Junior apprentice sister Ji, you are not very familiar with this person, yet you came up to the Blood River Mountains to save him. Alas, I really do not know what to say to you. Senior apprentice sister Lan, it is really difficult for me to explain to you what is going on. If I have not guessed wrong, after he fell down, he certainly would not have been swept away by the Blood River. There is a 90% chance that he would be in this place, so. Yan Ji had not even finished her words, when Xiang Jilan asked in a surprised voice, Junior apprentice sister Ji, you are not going to say that you want to look for this person, are you? Yan Ji nodded and spoke, I am going to look for him. Are you crazy? Xiang Jilan had such a calm temperament, but even she was somewhat speechless as she spoke, you fell down here because of the other party, it is already a great kindness to him. Do you still want to look for him? Looking for a person that you are not familiar with? Do you know that this place is boundless, even if you walked for a lifetime, you would not be able to reach the end? You should have seen some crazy people researching array formations, some of them have been researching for hundreds of years, but they are still like this. Yan Ji gave a faint smile, Senior apprentice sister Lan, you know that my temperament is different from yours, if I were to stay here and wait for my death, I would really go crazy. What kind of person is he? Xiang Jilan saw Yan Ji's determination, and somewhat helplessly asked. Yan Ji thought for a while before she spoke, it is very difficult for me to think of what kind of person he is, I think that in the Yixing mainland, there are certainly not many people like him. He has saved a lot of people, but there are not many people who are grateful to him. Some people even say that he is a devil cultivator, and disdain to associate with him. He has also saved me, but the reason why I admire him, is not because he saved me, I have not even seen what he looks like. You said that he is a devil cultivator? Xiang Zhilan asked in a surprised voice. Yan Ji nodded and spoke, others say that he is a devil cultivator, but I think that he should not be a devil cultivator. Even if he is a devil cultivator, a person like him is worthy of me saving. Xiang Zhilan thought that since they could not get out of this place, it would be meaningless to talk about Yan Ji again. She sighed and spoke, that should be a male cultivator, right? Junior apprentice Sister Ji, for you to treat a male cultivator like this, is it because you like that male cultivator? Yan Ji was silent for a long time, before she shook her head and spoke, no, he had changed his appearance, I have not even seen what he looks like, so there is no reason for me to like him. Besides, I have never thought of liking a person, I still want to be alone and be free. I just admire him, of course, if I can find him here, and live with him for a few hundred years, I think I would not be too lonely. Xiang Zhilan did not speak again, she understood the meaning of Yan Ji's words. Falling to the bottom of the blood river, that kind of torment and unbearable suffering was not something that ordinary people could bear. Even for a quiet and peaceful person like her, she had found herself a temporary Tao companion. But her Tao companion had only accompanied her for a few decades, before he suddenly disappeared. She believed that after a long time, Yan Ji would also be like her, looking for a male cultivator to live with. Originally, she wanted to help Yan Ji introduce another cultivator here, but that cultivator was obviously good to Yan Ji. Moreover, he was also the first person here, there was no one else here whose cultivation could rise, except for him. Not only could he level up in this place, but he could also level up very quickly. When he had first come here, he was only at the profound core first level, but now he was already at the profound core 9th level. Xiang Zhilan also did not think that Yan Ji would want to leave this place. Yan Ji stood up, and spoke with a smile, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I'm leaving. After saying that, Yan Ji seemed to have thought of something, she pulled off her veil and spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, if I do not come back, and you have the opportunity to go out in the future, please tell the Yan clan, that I have fallen in the blood river. Xiang Zhilan stared blankly at Yan Ji's appearance, and only muttered after a good while, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, you are unexpectedly so beautiful, I have never seen a woman more beautiful than you, Junior Apprentice Sister Lan, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, you are all here my spiritual grass garden has cultivated some new spiritual fruits, I would like to invite all of you to come and have a taste. Along with the voice, a man with a medium stature strode over. This man and the somewhat pale face of Xiang Zhilan were different, his complexion was rosy, and his tone was filled with a strong self-confidence, it was as if he did not have even half a shred of being confined at the bottom of the blood river. Greetings Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan. Xiang Zhilan and Yan Ji quickly bowed in salute. This person was called Feng Yushan, and was the male cultivator that Xiang Zhilan wanted to matchmake with Yan Ji. Feng Yushan was also one of the people in their group, and was the strongest, or at least one of the leaders. However, Feng Yushan had a good personality, and rarely used his power to oppress people, moreover he was especially good to her. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, you. Feng Yushan was even more stunned as he stared at Yan Ji's face, he had never seen such a beautiful woman. Previously when he saw Yan Ji's perfect figure wrapped in clothes, he knew that Yan Ji would definitely not be ugly, but he had never thought that Yan Ji would unexpectedly be beautiful to such an extent. At this moment, he already knew that the person he liked had finally appeared. Yan Ji was his best Tao companion, no one would be able to snatch Yan Ji away from his side. Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I'll be taking my leave, I hope to see you again. Yan Ji quickly bowed once again, and turned around to leave. You can't go. Feng Yushan almost blurted out. But Yan Ji did not hear Feng Yushan's words at all, as she stared blankly at a distant figure in ragged clothes, with messy hair, who was slowly moving forward unsteadily. Suddenly the tip of her nose turned sour. Chapter 2:16. Over the past few years, Yan Ji had seen a lot of similar people, but when she saw this figure, she couldn't help but feel sour in her heart. Perhaps it was because she knew that this person in front of her was Ning Cheng. Behind this ragged and staggering cultivator was a puppy who was just as sluggish as him. The puppy's body was dirty, and its fur was very dry. Furthermore, the color of its fur couldn't be seen clearly. It couldn't even walk properly, but it continued to follow the people walking in front of it. What a loyal pet beast. Xiang Jilan also apparently saw a person and a dog, as she spoke with a sigh. Sigh, this man is quite wealthy. Even his pet beast has a storage ring. It's just that there are just too many of these kinds of people in this place. The only way is. Feng Yushan had not yet finished his words, when he found that Yan Ji had already rushed out. Only then did Xiang Jilan discover that Yan Ji's eyes were a little strange. She immediately came to understand, this man who was walking unsteadily was the cultivator that Yan Ji had wanted to save, but was not able to save. Feng Yushan could also see that Yan Ji had some kind of relationship with this tottering cultivator in front of him. As such he quickly called out from behind, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you must not touch him." Yan Ji's footsteps paused, as she eagerly turned around and asked, "Why?" Feng Yushan was increasingly convinced that his guess was correct. He hurriedly said, "This person should be completely trapped in the grand array we are in. Perhaps he is still subconsciously deducing the array. If you touch him now, there is only one possibility. Make him completely lose himself and never wake up again. What should we do?" Yan Ji suddenly panicked. Xiang Jilan walked up and asked in a soft voice, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, is this cultivator the person you were talking about? Is he in disguise?" Yan Ji looked at Ning Cheng who was still walking, and forced herself to calm down, nodded and spoke, "Yes, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, he is that person." "Senior Sister, do you have any ideas? If we let him continue like this, he'll eventually reach the point where he'll run out of fuel." Xiang Jilan was silent for a good while, before she spoke up, "I have also seen this kind of situation before. There are people who forcibly take away people they are familiar with, but the result was that the other party would fall into a lost state, and would never be able to wake up. Senior Brother Yushan was right. I have an idea." Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, quickly say it all. Xiang Jilan could not wait to ask. Set up a trapping array in front of him and let him automatically enter this trapping array. Then, he would sense the trap array and begin to break it. Once he broke through this trap array, he would think that he had broken through the array. At the same time that he breaks this trap array, you can wake him up by shouting at him. This is just what I came up with. I have not tried it, so I don't know if it will work or not. Xiang Jilan replied. Yan Ji immediately spoke up, "Then I will arrange this entrapment array." Xiang Jilan pulled Yan Ji back and spoke, "Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, let me arrange this entrapment array. This entrapment array cannot be too bad. If it is too bad then it would not work. I've been trapped here for more than 100 years. Although I'm not like the others, I've still studied some formations." Hearing this, Feng Yushan hurriedly said, "That's a good idea, why don't I set up the array formation? I'm a level 4 array grandmaster, that should be enough." Yan Ji quickly spoke up, "Many thanks Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan, but let Senior Apprentice Sister Lan arrange it. I am afraid that this array formation is too complex, Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng would not be able to break it." Yan Ji's words were completely based on a woman's intuition. She had pulled off her veil, just to let Xiang Jilan see her appearance. If Senior Apprentice Sister Lan was able to get out of this place, and return to the Lu continent, then she would be able to draw out her appearance. But she did not expect that Feng Yushan would suddenly come over, and also see her appearance. After Feng Yushan saw her appearance, she immediately felt that kind of desire, this kind of intuition could not be expressed in words, it was completely an innate feeling. Although he had seen her appearance before, but although there was some appreciation in his eyes, but he did not have that kind of naked desire to possess her. Feng Yushan quickly smiled and spoke, "Yes, that's right, I'll help from the side." Yan Ji spoke up in a stern tone, "Senior apprentice brother Yushan, let's let senior apprentice sister Lan arrange it alone, the two of us can watch from the side, I'm afraid that if there are too many people, it would instead affect him." "That's also true." Feng Yushan no longer spoke, he could see that Yan Ji was very concerned about this unkempt man in front of her. However, he did not care about it, in this place, he, Feng Yushan, was the heaven. A person who had lost his mind, how could he possibly fight against him? Xiang Jilan deliberately arranged an entrapment array formation a few hundred meters in front of Ning Cheng, but when Ning Cheng arrived in front of that entrapment array, he unexpectedly automatically took a turn, bypassing the entrapment array, and then continued to walk forward. "What's going on?" Xiang Jilan also did not understand as she looked at Ning Cheng's departing back. It stood to reason that the cultivators who fell into this array formation would be very confused, so how could they possibly bypass her entrapment array? But Yan Ji's eyes immediately lit up. Ning Cheng was able to bypass senior apprentice sister Lan's entrapment array. It showed that he was not the same as the others, and was not the kind of muddle-headed person. She quickly spoke up, "Senior apprentice sister Lan, I know what to do. I will constantly arrange some entrapment arrays in front of him, one day he will definitely fall into the entrapment array." Although Yan Ji's words were like that, but her meaning was absolutely not like that. What she was thinking, was that since Ning Cheng was able to bypass the entrapment array, it showed that Ning Cheng still had his own thoughts. She kept arranging entrapment formations, while Ning Cheng kept bypassing them. Maybe he had completely changed his way of thinking and gave up on the entrapment formations in front of him. Feng Yushan frowned. He had also thought of the same thing. This cultivator seemed different from the other cultivators who were trying to deduce the array formation. He was probably not completely lost. Yan Ji's method might really be able to wake up the cultivator who had arranged the array formation in front of him. However, he soon no longer worried about it, it was just a profound congealing 5th level cultivator, even if he was awakened, he could still easily kill him. Xiang Jilan at the same time came to understand, she knew what Yan Ji really wanted to do, and immediately spoke up in a pleasantly surprised voice, "Junior apprentice sister Ji, this friend of yours may have only been here for a very short time, as such she has not completely lost herself, I estimate that your method is feasible." Seeing that her own thoughts were already known by senior apprentice sister Lan, Yan Ji spoke up in an embarrassed manner, "Senior apprentice sister Lan, I'll be fine by myself, you and senior apprentice brother Yushan can go back first." "No need, I'll follow you. With the two of us together, we can take care of each other. I don't have anything to do when I go back. Besides, being together with you, I can also talk a lot, so I won't feel lonely." Xiang Jilan spoke without hesitation. Feng Yushan on seeing this, spoke up, "Then I'll go back first, I'll come back to see you after a while, if you need any help, just contact me through the communication pearl." After Feng Yushan left, Yan Ji suddenly took out a spiritual fruit and handed it to Grey Toot Toot who was following behind him and said, "Come, you can eat this." Grey Toot Toot did not have many pills left, as such he had to save them to eat. Sometimes he would only be able to eat a single pill every few days, moreover he also did not know when he would finish eating his pills. Now that Yan Ji took out a spiritual fruit and gave it to him, it immediately squeaked a few times, as its small claws directly grabbed the spiritual fruit in Yan Ji's hand. However, after grabbing the spiritual fruit, Grey Toot Toot did not eat it, but rather put it into his storage ring. It seemed to know that all the things that it ate were very precious to it. What a clever companion beast, I guess that it was reluctant to eat it. Xiang Jilan spoke with a sigh. Yan Ji once again took out more than a dozen spiritual fruits and handed them to Grey Toot Toot. This time Grey Toot Toot swallowed one of them, and then put away the rest of the spiritual fruits. After swallowing a spiritual fruit, Grey Tutut's fur obviously changed from dry to a little more moisture. This spiritual beast should have been lacking something that contained moisture for a long time, as such its fur would be so dry. Xiang Jilan spoke again. What made the two people even more surprised was that Grey Tut unexpectedly grabbed a pill and handed it to Yan Ji. It was obvious that it did not want to take advantage of people for free. What a principled and spiritual companion beast. Yan Ji was even more pleasantly surprised. As she took the pill, in her heart she could not wait to take Grey Tut for herself. Seeing Yan Ji take the pill, Grey Tut stepped up a few steps to catch up with Ning Cheng. Hey, it turned out to be a top-quality true restoration pill. This is the first time that I have seen a pill of this quality. This is definitely a first-class pill. Xiang Jilan exclaimed as she stared at the pill in Yan Ji's hands. Yan Ji could also see that the pill in her hands was of an extremely high quality. What kind of person would be able to refine this kind of pill? She was also somewhat confused. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, this friend of yours is not simple. Xiang Jilan stared at Ning Cheng's back and spoke, a person who could give a top-quality pill to his companion beast to eat, it would be a strange thing for him to be simple. Yan Ji took out a jade bottle, and put the pill into the jade bottle before putting it away. Before she spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, what do you think about Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan? Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan? He is very good. The cultivators in our area have all benefited a lot from him. He is a pill master, and also has a spiritual medicine garden. Moreover, every time there is a fresh spiritual fruit, he would always take it out and share it with everyone. Xiang Jilan blurted out. Yan Ji was silent for a moment. Before she spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, in addition to you and me, there are also 8 other female cultivators. I found that Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan and those 8 female cultivators are somewhat unclear. Moreover, Xiang Jilan sighed and spoke, you want to ask why the Tao companions of those 8 female cultivators did not say anything. In fact, this is very normal. In this place they will never be able to get out, as such everyone is just looking for some psychological comfort. Their Tao companions are also aware that everyone is just a temporary group, as such there is no need to care about such things. Yan Ji nodded and spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I always feel that Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan is a bit strange. No matter what happens to Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng, I will not go back. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, you. Xiang Jilan nodded, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, I understand what you mean. The reason I propose to go with you, is that I do not intend to go back. Although there are a lot of people there, but that kind of life is really not what I want. In the past, I did not even dare to think about it. Anyway, the two of us also have a companion, as such a person would not be too lonely. Besides, that puppy is really cute. Chapter 217. What Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan did not know was that as early as 3 months ago, Ning Cheng had already completely deduced the exit of this grand array. As long as he had enough materials and resources, he could leave this place at any time. At this moment, he wasn't trying to figure out how to get out of this place. Instead, he was trying to figure out how this formation was set up and then completely destroy it. With his current level of proficiency in array formations, not to mention the array formations arranged by Xiang Jilan, even if it was a rank 4 or rank 5 array formation, he would still be able to consciously bypass it. No one knew how many simulation arrays he had set up in his sea of consciousness in these 3 years. Ning Cheng's actions were indeed influenced by the array formation. If he was in a completely sober state, he would never do such a stupid thing. As soon as he found the array door, he would think of a way to leave this place. How could he waste time thinking of a way to completely break the array? With such a huge array formation in front of him, it was already a great achievement for him to be able to get out of it. However, if he wanted to completely break this array formation, then with Ning Cheng's current cultivation, it would still be a long way off. Perhaps after many years, Ning Cheng might be able to unlock this grand array, but at least for now, he couldn't do it. At the very least, He couldn't do it on his own unless his luck was really heaven-defying, and he suddenly found where the core of the array was. As the day passed by, Xiang Zhilan and Yan Ji tirelessly arranged a variety of array formations in front of Ningcheng, but Ningcheng would always bypass the array formations and continue to move forward. At this time, Grey Toot Toot had already been cleaned by Yan Ji. Grey Toot Toot could feel that Yan Ji did not have any malicious intentions towards it, as such it suddenly rushed towards Yan Ji's buttocks and began to babble incessantly. "What's the matter?" Xiang Zhilan looked at Grey Toot Toot in a puzzled manner and asked. "I don't know either. It only called me that after I got familiar with it. It never called me that way before. Moreover, he always calls out to my back." Yan Ji also spoke out in a depressed manner. She and Grey Toot Toot were not familiar with each other, so it could be explained. Now they were already very familiar with each other, so when Grey Toot Toot called out like this, it really made her unable to understand what was going on. Xiang Zhilan suddenly spoke up, "This dog is very creative, you can take a look at what is going on with it." Yan Ji also had such a thought, as she stared at Grey Toot Toot and spoke, "What is your name? I've already given you so many spirit fruits, and I'm setting up this formation to help your master." Grey Toot Toot suddenly jumped up, and bit down on Yan Ji's hind leg. "Why do you bite people?" Yan Ji quickly swatted away Grey Toot Toot. If not for her liking this dog, moreover it was Ning Cheng's companion beast, she would have already slapped it to death. "Wait." Xiang Zhilan's complexion slightly changed, as she placed her hand behind Yan Ji. Yan Ji's face immediately turned red. Even if Xiang Zhilan was a female cultivator, she was still not used to it. "Don't move." Xiang Zhilan's tone was very dignified. Hearing Xiang Zhilan's unusual tone, Yan Ji did not dare to move again. After a while, Xiang Zhilan put down her hand and spoke, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, there is a spiritual consciousness tag on your body. The place where the puppy bit just now is the divine sense mark." Yan Ji's expression changed. "I'm in here, who would have placed a spiritual consciousness tag on me?" Xiang Zhilan did not speak, as she carefully swept her body with her spiritual consciousness, but was not able to find any spiritual consciousness tags. She frowned as she spoke to Grey Toot Toot, "Can you see if there are any markings on my body?" Grey Toot Toot did not even look at Zhilan, as he chased after Ningcheng. Yan Ji quickly followed up and called out, "Little Grey, you quickly help senior apprentice Sister Lan smell." Hearing Yan Ji's words, Grey Toot Toot reluctantly bit Xiang Zhilan's shoe. Xiang Zhilan's spiritual consciousness immediately fell on the place where Grey Toot Toot had bitten. After a good while, her complexion turned ugly as she spoke, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, my body has also been marked with a spiritual consciousness tag. But it is very difficult to recognize. If not for this puppy, even if I knew about it, it would have taken me at least a few hours to find it." Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan glanced at each other, but did not speak. The two of them did not need to say anything to know who had placed this spiritual consciousness tag on them. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, no matter what the person who placed the spiritual consciousness tag on us is thinking, I don't think it is a good thing for us." Xiang Zhilan spoke in a worried voice. Yan Ji was a bit more decisive than Xiang Zhilan. After she understood that Feng Yushan had placed a spiritual consciousness tag on them, she immediately spoke up, "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, you immediately help me cut off the piece of cloth that placed the spiritual consciousness tag. You also cut off your own and throw it here. We have to hurry." "What about him?" Xiang Zhilan pointed at Ningcheng. "Don't worry about it too much," Yan Ji once again urged. Xiang Zhilan knew that she had stayed in this place for a long time, and was somewhat indecisive, but now that Yan Ji had made up her mind, she immediately cut off the piece of cloth that had the spiritual consciousness tag on Yan Ji's body. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag, Yan Ji immediately rushed in front of Ningcheng, and directly sealed Ningcheng's 5 senses. She quickly carried Ningcheng on her back, and spoke to Xiang Zhilan, "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, you take Little Grey and quickly follow me, leave the spiritual consciousness tag here. we will immediately escape. Xiang Zhilan understood Yan Ji's approach. If they let it go on like this, then when Feng Yushan lost his patience, this male cultivator called Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng would be the first to suffer. Yan Ji also understood this point, and simply carried this male cultivator on her back and immediately fled. Grey Toot Toot was caught by Xiang Zhilan, and the two of them quickly escaped. It was not until they had escaped for a while, that Yan Ji finally remembered to bring out her flight-type magical weapon. A day later, Feng Yushan arrived at the place where Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan had left the spiritual consciousness tag. His complexion was extremely ugly to look at. He looked all around, and unexpectedly chose a direction to pursue. But this direction was precisely the direction that Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan had left in. Although Xiang Zhilan was controlling the airship, but she was aware of what Yan Ji was doing. Yan Ji was actually helping that male cultivator to clean the dust off his body inside the cabin, although Yan Ji did not completely remove that male cultivator's clothes, but it was only a matter of time. In the end, Yan Ji would definitely strip that male cultivator naked. Xiang Zhilan sighed, but it was not because of Yan Ji's actions. Rather it was because of such an outstanding disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy, but unexpectedly could only be together with such a cultivator. It made her feel somewhat sentimental. In her opinion, if they left this place, then Ning Qing simply would not be worthy of even a single strand of Yan Ji's hair. Yan Ji had already completely tidied up Ning Cheng's hair, and even completely removed the disguise on Ning Cheng's face. When she finally managed to shave off Ning Cheng's beard, she suddenly froze. How could he be so young? He was definitely not even 25 years old. Yan Ji had always thought that the most outstanding thing about her was not her appearance, but rather her qualifications. She was not even 24 years old and was already at profound congealing 9th level. Even in the Lu continent, there were not many of such people. But this Ning Qing in front of her, how could he be so young? Ning Cheng's 5 senses were sealed off, but under the impact of the mysterious yellow origin, it quickly loosened up. Yan Ji did not have any murderous intent towards him, as such he had always been very calm. But at this moment, a strong sense of crisis washed over him. Ning Cheng's mysterious yellow origin instantly broke through the seal on his 5 senses. At this moment he also recovered his sanity. Yan Ji's hands had just untied Ning Cheng's clothes, when Ning Cheng suddenly sat up, while simultaneously grabbing Yan Ji's wrist. "It's you. Are you awake?" Ning Cheng recognized Yan Ji at the same time. Yan Ji was also pleasantly surprised to know that Ning Cheng had woken up. If she had known that Ning Cheng would wake up so easily, she would have already done it a long time ago. Ning Cheng's mind had already gone through all the things that had happened before. He was somewhat different from the others, at least he still had a clear goal in mind for what he was doing. After going through all these things, Ning Cheng quickly came to understand that it was Yan Ji who had sobered him up. "Thank you, isn't this the bottom of the blood river? Why are you here?" Ning Cheng looked at Yan Ji in doubt and asked. Yan Ji spoke with joy, "I saw that you were surrounded by the blood river otters, moreover the tide of the blood river had also risen, so I was worried about you, so I rushed up to save you, but the result was that I could not save you, so I came here." Ning Cheng then came to understand that the reason why she came here was also because of him. He was a little embarrassed as he spoke, "I'm really sorry, I ended up delaying you for a few years." Ning Cheng's apology was genuine. These few years, he was sure that Yan Ji had been delayed. But he did not delay even a little. No one knew that at this time he was already a Tier 6 Array Formation Grand Master, moreover he was only a step away from advancing to the Array Formation Grand Master. A less than 30 years old Array Formation Grand Master, even in the entire I Ching mainland, it was still shocking. Yan Ji did not hear Ning Cheng's words. She did not care about it and spoke, "It doesn't matter, it is not easy to meet an acquaintance here. Moreover, we will not be able to get out of this place in the future, so I don't think there is any need to be too polite." Although Yan Ji had not thought about becoming Dao companions with Ning Cheng, but her thoughts were very simple. Since everyone was trapped in here, then there was really no need to be too polite. Ning Cheng was just about to tell Yan Ji that she could go out, when his spiritual consciousness swept towards Grey Toot Toot. He felt somewhat guilty for forgetting about Grey Toot Toot. If he had not left a storage ring for Grey Toot Toot, then perhaps Grey Toot Toot would have starved to death. Grey Toot Toot. Ning Cheng called out. Ee. Grey Toot Toot's voice immediately came over, while it excitedly jumped inside. Since Ning Cheng woke up, it meant that its rations had been secured. Is it called Grey Toot Toot? It really is very cute. Yan Ji finally knew the puppy's name. I'll clean myself up. Ning Cheng saw that Yan Ji did not have any intention to go out, and took the initiative to speak up. Yan Ji immediately understood, and quickly left with Grey Toot Toot. Ning Cheng used several dust removal techniques to clean himself up quickly, and then changed into a clean set of clothes, before he walked out. Senior apprentice brother Ning, this is the senior apprentice sister that I met in here, Xiang Zhilan. Originally she was also from our Blue Cloud Academy, and has been trapped in here for over 100 years. Senior apprentice sister Lan, he is Ning Cheng. Yan Ji on seeing Ning Cheng come out, quickly introduced him to both sides. Xiang Zhilan also spoke in surprise, Junior apprentice brother Ning, I did not expect you to be so young. To be able to study array formations in here, and still be able to wake up, you are the first one. Xiang Zhilan was really surprised that Ning Cheng was able to wake up, but she also did not think that Ning Cheng would be so young. After Ning Cheng thanked Xiang Zhilan, he suddenly said, Junior apprentice sister Ji, did you and senior apprentice sister Lan offend someone? How could there be people chasing after us? Chapter 218. Just as Ning Cheng spoke, Xiang Zhilan's spiritual consciousness was able to see Feng Yushan chasing after them. Her complexion turned somewhat ugly as she spoke to Yan Ji, it's Feng Yushan. Who is Feng Yushan? Ning Cheng asked. Yan Ji, with her fastest speed, narrated the whole story. Ning Cheng on hearing that the spiritual consciousness tag on Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan's body was found by Grey Toot Toot, immediately patted Grey Toot Toot's head to show his praise. It looks like you still have a spiritual consciousness tag on you. Grey Toot Toot did not notice it. Ning Cheng looked at Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan and spoke. Xiang Zhilan increased the speed of the airship, as she sighed and spoke, Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag is extremely obscure, if not for Grey Toot Toot, I would not have been able to find it. I guessed that if there was a divine sense mark, it should be on me. It was probably left on me in the past. Junior apprentice sister Ji, you control the airship, I will go and change all my clothes. Ning Cheng interrupted Xiang Zhilan's words, Senior apprentice sister Lan, I suspect that changing your clothes would not necessarily be of any use. Since you still have a spiritual awareness mark on your body, it might not necessarily be on your clothes. If it was on his clothes, then maybe Grey Toot Toot would have already discovered it. Feng Yushan is just a trivial profound core 9th level cultivator, so there is no need to worry about it. Xiang Zhilan blankly stared at Ning Cheng, a mere profound core 9th level. This Ning Cheng's words were simply too irresponsible, he himself also seemed to have the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Yan Ji was able to see the surprise in Xiang Zhilan's eyes, and quickly spoke up, I heard from senior apprentice sister Lingwei that senior apprentice brother Ning was fighting against more than 20 profound core cultivators, as well as a few dozen profound congealing cultivators. In the end, he even killed all his opponents and retreated safely. Among those profound core cultivators, there are 2 profound core 8th level cultivators. Listening to Yan Ji's words, Xiang Zhilan couldn't believe her eyes as she looked at Ning Cheng. If she had not seen Yan Ji first, she would have thought that Ning Cheng and Yan Ji were performing a double act. For a profound congealing cultivator, even if it was at the peak of the profound congealing realm, wouldn't it be very difficult for him to defeat a profound core 1st level cultivator? Not to mention fighting against more than 20 profound core cultivators. And there were even dozens of profound congealing cultivators. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, I also used a broken core pearl, and was lucky enough to win. Besides, these profound core cultivators did not come up at the same time, rather they came up in batches. A broken core pearl, it is simply impossible to kill so many profound core cultivators. Xiang Jilan immediately said. There are also several other means. Ning Cheng did not know how to explain it, and could only speak vaguely. Even if it was just a slight difference in cultivation, it was still a huge difference. For Ning Cheng, as long as he could not block his axe line's killing intent, then there was no difference between a profound core and a profound congealing. Besides, those more than 20 profound core cultivators really did not come together, which gave him a great opportunity. In fact, the only ones who could pose a threat to him during the fight were a profound core 8th level cultivator, a profound core 7th level cultivator, and a profound core 5th level cultivator. As for the other cultivators, if they could not even block his axe line's killing intent, then they would just end up as bystanders. Xiang Jilan did not ask again, she guessed that Ning Cheng must have used an array formation. She had seen Ning Cheng's array formations with her own eyes. Although the array formations that she had arranged were not too bad, but in the eyes of Ning Cheng, who was in a trance, it was just like floating clouds. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found that Feng Yushan was getting closer and closer, as such he simply spoke up, Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, you and Senior Apprentice Sister Lan should leave first, I will stay here to deal with Feng Yushan, I will catch up with you. No, we can help you. Yan Ji replied in a very straightforward manner. Xiang Jilan's complexion was a bit gloomy, she was well aware of her own situation, although she was a profound core 2nd level cultivator, but because she had not been able to cultivate for many years, her cultivation had already regressed. Once they started fighting, it would simply not be enough. It was not that she did not want to help, but she was sure that if she were to face Feng Yushan now, she would not even have the qualifications to start a fight. Who was this Feng Yushan? All the cultivators in this place were aware that he had his own secrets. His cultivation had always been on the rise, even the 30 or so profound core cultivators living in that place, did not dare to covet Feng Yushan's secrets in the slightest. This showed that all the people here were clear in their hearts, that they were far from being a match for Feng Yushan. No, once I am not a match for Feng Yushan, I have a way to escape, moreover I am sure that I can run faster than Feng Yushan. Although Junior Apprentice Sister Ji is good, but I estimate that she would not be able to contain Feng Yushan. Ning Cheng refused without hesitation. Yan Ji had not seen the scene of Ning Cheng killing dozens of profound core cultivators, but she believed that Jia Lingwei would not lie. Plus before in the Blood River Peak, when Ning Cheng had rescued her and Jia Lingwei, he seemed to have a way to move quickly. Since Ning Cheng said that he could escape, then there should be a basis for it. Thinking till here, Yan Ji nodded and spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, in that case, we will go first. Ning Cheng watched Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan leave, but did not arrange any array formations. First, he thought that he would not need to arrange any array formations to deal with Feng Yushan, and second, it would be too late. Ning Cheng had just sent off Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan's airship, when Feng Yushan's flight-type magical weapon landed in front of Ning Cheng. The first time he saw Feng Yushan, Ning Cheng knew that this Feng Yushan in front of him was not ordinary. At least he was different from the cultivators he had seen before. Before he met Feng Yushan, the cultivator Ning Cheng had seen in the best condition was Xiang Jilan. But Xiang Jilan's complexion was pale, and her true essence was not visible, it was obvious that she had not cultivated for a long time. But Feng Yushan's spiritual qi was contained within his body, and was no different from the cultivators Ning Cheng had seen outside, he was even more spirited. Feng Yushan was not in a hurry to chase after Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan, rather he put away his flight-type magical weapon, as he looked at Ning Cheng and spoke, you unexpectedly woke up, it's a pity, I did not expect you to be such a young man. But you are only an intermediate stage profound congealing cultivator, do you really want to stop me? Feng Yushan had originally calmly asked Ning Cheng, and was not even half a bit impatient, but after he asked this sentence, he suddenly remembered something. His complexion immediately changed, as he anxiously spoke. How did you wake up? Was it before you woke up, your clothes were changed, and even your body was cleaned? Ning Qing at first did not understand why Feng Yushan would ask such irrelevant questions. Since Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag was discovered, then wouldn't the first thing to do be to restrain him, and then continue to chase after Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan? Why would he care about when his clothes were changed? Quickly answer me. Feng Yushan seemed to have no patience at all. Ning Qing quickly understood, as he gave a faint smile and spoke, who changed my clothes? Of course it was junior apprentice Sister Ji who helped me change them. What's wrong? Do you have any questions? I'll tear you apart. Feng Yushan's calm expression instantly turned ferocious, as he raised his hands and brought out a pair of yin-yang twin locks. As soon as the twin locks came out, Ning Qing immediately knew that this pair of twin locks was at least a pair of best quality spiritual artifacts. The twin locks had not yet fully activated, when two diametrically opposite slaughter auras completely locked down the surroundings of Ning Qing. The air around Ning Qing at this time also turned viscous. The yin-yang twin locks obviously had not yet fallen on top of Ning Qing's head, but the imposing manner was getting stronger and stronger, causing Ning Qing to feel more and more oppressive. It was as if the next moment, this kind of oppression would completely tear him to pieces. Ning Qing immediately realized that Feng Yushan's strength was far beyond those of the profound core cultivators who were trapped in the second segment of the law's way. He immediately brought out the cosmic true devil axe, and directly tore apart the two slaughter auras from the yin-yang twin locks, while at the same time bringing out the tyrannical devil axe intent. The axe intent and the yin-yang twin locks' yin-yang killing auras clashed together, giving out bursts of bang-bang sounds. Devil Cultivator. Feng Yushan's complexion immediately changed, as the yin-yang twin locks descended even more rapidly. The yin-yang killing auras condensed into dozens of huge gray-colored true essence balls. After Ning Qing's cosmic true devil axe tore apart the first wave of the yin-yang twin lock slaughter auras, it directly swept up the angry axe's killing intent, bringing out a whirlpool. These axe intent whirlpools instantly collided with the gray-colored balls formed by the yin-yang twin locks. Boom boom boom. It was as if a warehouse of explosives had been set on fire, as the terrifying sounds of explosions tore apart the silence of the surroundings. In this black sandy land, the two people's true essences directly blasted out a large crater. Ka. After the killing intent and imposing manner exploded out with a loud bang, the cosmic true devil axe and the yin-yang twin locks solidly collided together. Ning Qing was forced back dozens of steps by this kind of powerful backlash, before he was barely able to stand up. He was shocked to find that although they were both profound core cultivators, the disparity between them was like heaven and earth. In the battle just a moment ago, he was clearly at a disadvantage. Although he was fighting against Feng Yushan, compared to fighting against hundreds of cultivators who were weaker than him, the effect was completely different. A fight between cultivators was really different from a fight between ordinary people. It was not that the more people there were, the better it was. Moreover, it was also not a simple superposition effect. Although he still had a backup plan, but if he wanted to fight against Feng Yushan head-on, then he would have to rely on array formations. Since this Feng Yushan was able to stay in this place for such a long time, then his attainments in array formations would definitely not be bad. But Feng Yushan was even more horrified than Ning Qing. Ning Qing's cultivation was indeed only at profound congealing 5th level, as such the gap between them was like heaven and earth, yet this move of his unexpectedly only caused the other party to fall slightly. If the cultivator in front of him did not have any secrets, then even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. The reason why he was able to live in this place until today, moreover living a very comfortable life, was because he had his own secrets. He had to take down this cultivator. As for Yan Ji, he was not afraid that she would be able to escape. As long as she was in this place, then this place would be his territory. Ning Qing was just thinking of a way to get rid of Feng Yushan, when Feng Yushan waved his hand, and a human-shaped puppet with a height of more than 10 feet appeared in front of Ningcheng. A formidable imposing aura exuded from the body of this puppet, causing Ningcheng to shiver. This kind of imposing aura seemed to be comparable to that of Kong Pengpeng. Was this a soul essence puppet? Ningcheng immediately understood, this was definitely a soul essence puppet. Just one Feng Yushan, he would have to scheme against him. Moreover, it would be difficult for him to deal with him. If he added a soul essence puppet, then he would not even need to fight. Go, he must go. He was not anxious to deal with Feng Yushan. One day he would definitely come back. As Ningcheng thought till here, he directly stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings on his back, bringing with it a ray of light. In just a twinkling of an eye he was already far away. The twin heavenly cloud wings refined from the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Feng Yushan's eyes were incomparably sharp. As soon as Ningcheng's twin heavenly cloud wings flashed, he was able to clearly see it. At this moment, he was not angry at Ningcheng for leaving, rather his eyes were filled with surprise. He had never thought that one day, he would be able to obtain the twin heavenly cloud wings. In his opinion, as long as he was trapped in this place, anything would eventually belong to him. Chapter 219. In addition to Yan Ji letting her imagination run wild, if Xiang Zhilan could think of something like this, then Ningcheng would certainly also be able to think of it. He decided to search for the spiritual consciousness tags on Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan. He believed that with his spiritual consciousness, as long as he was careful, he would absolutely not be discovered by the two of them. It wasn't that he did it on purpose, but it would be awkward if he brought it up. Thinking that Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness was constantly looking at her body, Xiang Zhilan's complexion also turned strange. Becoming Tao companions with someone here was more of a spiritual sustenance. Now that someone was using their divine sense to scan her body, how could she still pretend that she didn't know? For the sake of the twin heavenly cloud wings, not to mention chasing for a few years, even if he had to chase for a few decades, he, Feng Yushan, would also be able to do it. Xiang Zhilan and Yan Ji simultaneously saw the twin heavenly cloud wings on Ningcheng's back. At this moment Yan Ji finally understood why Ningcheng was able to teleport away from the Blood River Peak. It was because Ningcheng had obtained the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Just how big of an opportunity was this? As for Feng Yushan, who was using a flight-type magical weapon, he had always been following behind them. Ningcheng could not carry the two of them and escape forever, right? Even if Ningcheng had the twin heavenly cloud wings, his true essence would eventually dry up. Once Ningcheng's true essence dried up, wouldn't Feng Yushan be able to catch up with him? Yan Ji recovered from the initial unnaturalness. Originally, she was just letting her imagination run wild, but she did not think too much about it. Once she returned to her senses, she immediately remembered the matter of the spiritual awareness imprint. After Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness came into contact with Xiang Zhilan, he was also incomparably embarrassed. He did not want to let Xiang Zhilan know about it, but he also believed that he could do it. But in the end, he was still discovered. Moreover, it was a collision of spiritual senses on the other party's body. If he had known that the spiritual consciousness tag would be in such an easy place to find, then Ningcheng would definitely not have looked for it under Xiang Zhilan's feet, which would have made everyone feel awkward. Xiang Zhilan did not know about the origin aura, but she could feel that Ningcheng's aura was different. She immediately understood that Ningcheng carrying her and Yan Ji running away were not the same thing at all. If the one he was holding was Ji Luofei, he would have long since used his spiritual consciousness to investigate it. No, she was different from Nalan Rushue. She would at least ask for a reason. However, that Nalan Rushue didn't even ask for a reason before starting. Ningcheng knew that Xiang Zhilan understood the gravity of this matter, and should have acquiesced in his search. But Ningcheng soon felt embarrassed. This kind of scene was completely different from watching a pictorial or even watching a small movie. This was a real thing, and was even sandwiched in his arms. How do you know? Yan Ji asked in doubt. Even if Xiang Jilan had not cultivated for a long time, but with her cultivation, her skin was still snow white, and her body was incomparably plump. This made Ning Cheng's face turn a bit red. After all, he was just a little virgin. Ning Cheng was just like a thief. His spiritual sense was carefully moving around Xiang Jilan's body. He was sure that Xiang Jilan would not be able to find him. Yan Ji thought about how her mind had wandered a moment ago, and seemed to have thought about something that she should not have thought about, causing her face to turn red once again, and then she quickly changed the topic and spoke. Where should we go now? No, you do not have a spiritual consciousness tag on you, so Feng Yushan should not be able to catch up. Ning Cheng immediately replied. However, he didn't move his spiritual sense away. This kind of thing couldn't be done casually. If Xiang Jilan was the same as that Nalan Rushue, and started cursing or acting like a shrew, then Ning Cheng would rather immediately put her down, and escape by himself. After determining that Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan were not paying attention to him, Ning Cheng's spiritual sense fell onto Xiang Jilan's body. He felt that the possibility of Xiang Jilan being tagged with a spiritual consciousness tag was much higher. After all, Yan Ji had not been here for a long time. If he could not find the spiritual consciousness tag on Xiang Jilan's body, then he would have to look for Yan Ji's body. How could she warn Ning Cheng? This time she finally felt it. Suddenly she understood why Nalan Rushue had wanted to make a move the moment she woke up. If it was not for Ning Cheng, who she had some feelings for, and was replaced with someone else who was hugging her tightly and trying to escape, what would she think in her heart? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had wrapped around the spiritual consciousness tag on her body. Xiang Jilan was very clear about it in her heart, and also felt relieved. Finally found it, otherwise that Feng Yushan would have definitely caught up with the three of them. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was very careful, and Xiang Jilan was flying in his arms, which provided him with a lot of convenience. But after half an hour, Ning Cheng's hands trembled, and almost dropped Xiang Jilan to the ground. Moreover, his face also turned embarrassed. He did not think that while he was carefully searching Xiang Jilan's body, Xiang Jilan was also using her spiritual consciousness to check her body. Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan, who were still rapidly escaping on the airship, had already heard the sound of an explosion, causing the two of them to feel very uneasy in their hearts, as they looked at each other, but did not know what to do. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag from Xiang Jilan, Ning Cheng did not continue to search Yan Ji's body. He flew for a while, and determined that Feng Yushan did not continue to follow them, and understood that Yan Ji's body really did not have a spiritual consciousness tag. As such he did not need to continue to search. Feng Yushan, who was already close to them, sneered, "You think you can just walk away like this? I don't believe that you would be able to fly for a few years while hugging two people." Ning Cheng nodded and spoke, "That's right, let's go out. Although I can't completely master this array formation, but I should be able to find the exit, but I estimate that it would take about 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, I would also need a best quality spirit stone to activate the array door." "Ah, I remember, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan and I might have a spiritual consciousness tag on our bodies. If that's the case, then wouldn't it mean that Feng Yushan would be able to catch up to us wherever we go?" Although Yan Ji knew that this was not the time to care about such trifles, but being hugged by Ning Cheng while flying, her heart was still thumping wildly. Strictly speaking, this was the first time that she had ever been hugged by a man like this. The last time she had also been saved by Ning Cheng, but in that short period of time, she did not feel that Ning Cheng had already let go of her. "Go out?" Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan asked almost at the same time in amazement. However, the two of them were not ordinary people, and immediately understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng wanted to take them away. With the speed of the twin heavenly cloud wings, that Feng Yushan would definitely not be able to catch up to them. Ning Cheng brought out a flight-type magical weapon and spoke, "Now let's first get on the airship. We will first go to a place, and then find a way to get out. This place is something that I have calculated out. I want to find something." Her body unconsciously gave rise to some shivers, and even had a somewhat shy reaction. At this moment, she could only close her eyes, and retract her spiritual consciousness. Fortunately, she could feel that Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was still abiding by the rules, and did not offend her, and was truly searching for the spiritual consciousness tag. If the two of them were originally only suspicious of Ning Cheng's words, but when Ning Cheng said that he needed best quality spirit stones to activate the array entrance, the two of them completely extinguished the thought of going out. If best quality spirit stones were so easy to obtain, then they would not be called best quality spirit stones. Fortunately, after Xiang Zhilan retracted her spiritual consciousness, she did not say anything, she did not even give a snort. Only her skin was still trembling, but these tremors quickly returned to their original state. A profound core 9th level cultivator with a soul essence cultivation puppet, was chasing after him. If he did not do this, then would he not want to live? Ning Cheng had guessed it right, Xiang Zhilan had indeed acquiesced to Ning Cheng's wanton search of her body. At the very beginning, she was still somewhat angry and ashamed, but she soon calmed down. She understood that Ning Cheng's actions were not unreasonable. On the contrary, if Ning Cheng had proposed it, and she had to agree to it, then it would have been awkward. Xiang Zhilan decided to search for the spiritual consciousness tag in her body. She believed that she would eventually find the spiritual consciousness tag by herself. The twin heavenly cloud wings brought out a faint trace in the air, and in just a twinkling of an eye disappeared from where she stood. If she had known that Ning Cheng would do such a thing, then she would never have used her spiritual consciousness to investigate. This kind of thing was something that everyone did not know about, or at least pretended not to know about it. After the shyness passed, she was even more horrified. Ning Cheng's cultivation did not seem to be high. Although his spiritual consciousness was probing her body, but she was unexpectedly not even the slightest bit aware of it. Or rather, if she had not happened to sweep out with her spiritual consciousness, then she would have absolutely not been able to detect Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. In this incomparably empty black sand field, the explosive sounds of the fight between Ning Cheng and Feng Yushan could be heard from a very far distance. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness finally settled on Xiang Zhilan's left ear. The spiritual consciousness tag was placed under the skin, and was incomparably obscure. With Xiang Zhilan's cultivation and her previous vigilance towards Feng Yushan, it should be normal for Feng Yushan to place such a spiritual consciousness tag on her. At this time, Ning Cheng suddenly appeared on the airship, and anxiously spoke, "Feng Yushan has a soul essence realm puppet, I am not his opponent. Put away the airship, I will take you away from here, otherwise he will definitely catch up to us." Yan Ji's imagination was running wild, as she completely did not know what she was thinking. Xiang Zhilan was a lot calmer than Yan Ji. The aura coming from Ning Cheng's body was somewhat different from other cultivators. It seemed to be an indescribably pure aura. It was like the kind of pure aura one would feel when they were just born. It was something that could not be described with words. The two people's spiritual consciousness unexpectedly collided with each other on her abdomen. Xiang Zhilan's spiritual consciousness came into contact with Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness in a split second. Her body also trembled. She instantly understood the meaning behind Ning Cheng's actions. Ning Cheng wanted to find the spiritual consciousness tag on her body without her knowing about it. It should be because he was afraid that everyone would feel awkward with each other. Yan Ji put away the airship, and just as she held Grey Toot Toot in her hands, Ning Cheng had already wrapped his arms around her and Xiang Zhilan's waist, while at the same time vigorously wielding the twin heavenly cloud wings. Xiang Zhilan's heart was in a dilemma. Even if she knew that she would not be able to get out of this place, she was still a disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy. Moreover, she also knew about morality and integrity. If she reminded Ning Cheng, it would mean that she wanted Ning Cheng to look for the spiritual consciousness tag on her body. She and Ning Cheng had no relationship at all, so how could she let Ning Cheng do such a thing? Not to mention that junior apprentice sister Yan Ji treated this Ning Cheng differently. Xiang Zhilan did not want to make Yan Ji embarrassed, and quickly spoke up, "I have already found the spiritual consciousness tag on my body, and even removed it, you just did not pay attention to it a moment ago. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was incomparably powerful. Since he had found Xiang Zhilan's spiritual consciousness tag, his spiritual consciousness directly wrapped around Xiang Zhilan's spiritual consciousness tag, while simultaneously bringing out a jade bottle. Throwing this trace of spiritual consciousness tag into the jade bottle, he sealed the jade bottle and threw it away. Listening to Ning Cheng's words, Yan Ji did not respond, but Xiang Zhilan already understood. She was sure that Ning Cheng had also searched Yan Ji, but Yan Ji's cultivation was lower than her, as such she would absolutely not be able to detect it. Thinking about Yan Ji's attitude towards Ning Cheng, she did not think that Ning Cheng had done anything wrong. Since they could not get out of this place, then Yan Ji and Ning Cheng would always be together, as such using her spiritual consciousness to check Yan Ji's body, was nothing. Chapter 220. This place is also covered in sand, what are we doing here? Xiang Zhilan and Yan Ji were puzzled as they looked at the black sand in front of them. They did not understand what Ning Cheng wanted to do here. I calculated the array formation here, although I found a way to crack it, but I did not fully understand this array formation. To crack this array formation, you need to arrange the communication array flags of the entire array. These array flags have been arranged by me for the past few years, now we just need to use the spirit stones to get out of the array formation. According to my calculations, this place should be the array formation heart. Ning Cheng explained. Do you really know the way to get out of this array formation? Xiang Zhilan looked at Ning Cheng with complete disbelief, not to mention that it was impossible to obtain the best quality spirit stones. Even if he obtained the best quality spirit stones, Xiang Zhilan did not believe that Ning Cheng would be able to break this array formation. She did not know how many cultivators were trapped at the bottom of the Blood River, moreover there were also some amazing array formation geniuses among them. But she had never seen a person able to get out of this place, nor had she seen a person able to break this array formation. Ning Cheng did not speak again, it was better to do it himself than to talk. He took out more than a dozen array flags and threw them out, and then scattered some spirit stones to provide the spiritual source. After a few breaths, a black irregular door suddenly appeared in front of the three people. There is actually a hidden door here. Xiang Zhilan once again spoke out in surprise, while in her heart she was already doubting whether Ning Cheng could really get out of this place. This door can only open for at most 10 breaths of time, let's hurry up and go in. Ning Cheng spoke as he took the first step into the door. Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan on seeing this immediately followed. When the three people entered the door, they were suddenly stunned by everything in front of them. They had all fallen into the bottom of the Blood River because of the Blood River Mountains. The spiritual chi at the bottom of the Blood River was scarce, or rather there was no spiritual chi at all. But here there was also a long Blood River, on the contrary, the spiritual chi here was extremely rich. This Blood River was long and winding, and simply could not see the end of it. The Blood River Mountains seemed to be flowing, but there were no waves at all. What was even more amazing was that this Blood River seemed to be a huge circle, and one could not see the two ends. The Blood River was not wide. As they stood by the side of the Blood River, they could see that the width of the Blood River was not more than 10 feet. In the middle of the circular Blood River, there was a black sand, and in the middle of this sand, there was a skeleton. A golden talisman floated above the skeleton. Such a big talisman! Yan Ji exclaimed. Ning Cheng had never seen such a large talisman before. This talisman had a radius of several dozen feet. Moreover, it was emitting an extremely terrifying and profound aura. If it wasn't for the Blood River blocking it, they wouldn't have been able to block this aura. Why do I feel that this Blood River is actually a restriction array formation? Xiang Zhilan suddenly spoke after looking at it for a long time. You should be right, this Blood River is definitely a restriction. Not only is the Blood River a restriction, even the Blood River Mountain outside and the Blood River Peak above the Blood River Mountain are also restriction array formations. This restriction is a natural restriction array formation. It seems to be specially made to trap this talisman. Ning Qing spoke in a deep voice. He had been deducing array formations for decades, as such his knowledge and level regarding array formations was far from what Xiang Jilan could compare to. There seems to be words on the talisman. Yan Ji also saw it. Xiang Jilan nodded and spoke, yes, it has the word Sky Splitter written on it. Ning Qing spoke, I just probed it with my spiritual consciousness, although we can see the opposite side of the blood river, but our spiritual consciousness is not able to pass through the blood river. We can forget about crossing the river. If we cross the river, we will definitely be swept away by the blood river. That corpse and the talisman might be a good thing, since we can't get them, then we should hurry up and get out of here. Ning Qing spoke while taking out a best quality spirit stone. Fortunately, I happen to be able to take out a best quality spirit stone. As for the high-grade spirit stone, you do not have to worry about it at all. Can we really get out? Yan Ji had never intended to go out, but now that Ning Qing not only said that they could get out, but also took out a best quality spirit stone, she couldn't help but ask in a surprised tone. Ning Qing gave an "n" sound. I guess that this array formation, even the entire Blood River Mountain, was created by this talisman. Moreover, the spiritual qi from the outside is also completely absorbed by this place. To get out of this array formation is very simple, as long as we can find the array heart, which is the spiritual sacrifice of this river. It is somewhat different from ordinary array formations. How do you know that we can break this array formation in this way? Xiang Jilan blurted out. She came from an 8-star academy, and had learned a lot of things, but she had never heard of a method to break an array formation using a spiritual sacrifice. Ning Qing had to speak up. I also slowly deduced it. Before I scattered a lot of array flags outside, it was in order to open the door and find this place. As long as we can get here, we can use the spiritual sacrifice. If we are trapped in this place again, then as long as we have enough spirit stones, we can quickly get out. Moreover, the spiritual sacrifice is not to break the array, but rather to provide the spiritual qi of the blood river, and then take the initiative to send us out. Yan Ji glanced at Ning Qing, but did not speak. Although she and Ning Qing had not been together for a long time, but that did not stop her from appreciating Ning Qing. If she was really trapped in this place with Ning Qing, then perhaps it would not be very difficult. But once they got out, she and Ning Qing would at most be good friends. Although Yan Ji did not speak, it did not mean that Xiang Jilan would not consider this matter. If Ning Qing could really bring them out, then there were some things that she had to make clear. Previously she had thought that everyone would not be able to get out, as such she thought that it would not matter if Ning Qing saw Yan Ji's body. If they could get out now, then Yan Ji's body being seen by an outsider, it would not be a small matter. With Yan Ji's appearance and qualifications, after she advanced to the profound core realm, there would definitely be many geniuses who would go to the Blue Cloud Academy to propose marriage. She could see that Yan Ji had a good impression of Ning Qing. Even if she had a good impression of Ning Qing, even if she was not reserved, she would not take the initiative to look for Ning Qing. If Ning Qing had not seen Yan Ji's body, then it would not have mattered. Although Ning Qing was good, but Yan Ji's future was much brighter. But now it was Ning Qing who had taken advantage of her. Yan Ji did not know about it. As for her own body being seen by others, in any case, once she got out, she would put all her focus on cultivation. Thinking till here, Xiang Jilan directly asked, Junior Apprentice Brother Ning, are you a rogue cultivator? I am also a rogue cultivator. I am in the cultivator army. After we get out of the law's way, I estimate that I will have to leave the cultivator army. Ning Qing honestly replied, there was no need to hide this. Although the Blue Cloud Academy is only an 8-star academy, but it is only a matter of time before it is promoted to a 9-star academy. If you are willing, I can introduce you to our Blue Cloud Academy. Xiang Jilan stared at Ning Qing and said. Yan Ji was also looking at Ning Qing with a face full of expectation. She really had a very good impression of Ning Qing in her heart. Ning Qing quickly spoke up, many thanks for Senior Apprentice Sister Lan's kindness, but after leaving this place, I'm afraid that I will not be staying in the Lu continent for a long time. Besides, I like to be free, so it's better for me to be a loose cultivator. Ning Qing knew that he had a lot of secrets on him. Moreover, with his terrifying consumption of cultivation resources, staying in the academy was not suitable for him. It's also free in the academy. Core disciples not only have their own caves, but they can also go wherever they want. At the same time, they also have the academy's protection. Besides, I think that if you and junior apprentice sister Yan Ji can become Dao companions in the future, then it would be very good. Xiang Jilan finally spoke out her thoughts. Ning Qing was secretly cursing in his heart. If he had known that Xiang Jilan would have such intentions, then he would have definitely diverted the topic. Although Yan Ji was beautiful, but his mind was really not on this matter. If the first person he met was Yan Ji, then it would have been possible. But in the modern society, it was basically monogamy. As such he already had Ji Luofei, as such he could not have any relationship with Yan Ji. Not to mention that he would not have any relationship with Yan Ji, even if he could return to Earth, and Tian Mu Wan took the initiative to look for him, he would not have any relationship with her. The problem was that Yan Ji was an outstanding woman, and was one of the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers on one stalk. Once he refused, it would definitely cause people to lose face. Although Ning Qing and Yan Ji had not been together for a long time, but he knew that Yan Ji was extremely competitive. Moreover, this time Yan Ji had fallen into this place, in order to save him. Coupled with the fact that Yan Ji had helped him before, if he refused, then what should he say? Xiang Jilan was not a fool. When she saw the expression on Ning Cheng's face, she knew that she was being reckless. She had never thought that in the face of such an outstanding woman like Yan Ji, Ning Cheng would still hesitate. Yan Ji's complexion immediately became a little strange. She had always thought that Ning Cheng also had a favorable impression of her, otherwise how could he have come over when Zhang Sun Yan called him? Ning Cheng obviously came over to save her, and not to save Jia Lingwei. She was just about to open her mouth to break the awkwardness, when Ning Qing suddenly smiled and spoke. Junior apprentice sister Ji is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. I am just a rogue cultivator. Oh, senior apprentice sister Lan is really too anxious. I have not yet advanced to the profound core realm. This kind of thing can only be mentioned after I advance to the profound core realm. Right, senior apprentice brother Ning, you said that you can perform a spiritual sacrifice. Why don't you give it a try? Yan Ji interrupted Ning Cheng's words, as she spoke with a smile. When she said those words, her tone had already returned to normal. Originally she did not think that she and Ning Cheng would become Dao companions. After all, the academy had already made plans for a person like her. But now that senior apprentice sister Xiang Jilan had brought up this matter, she found that she really did have such thoughts towards Ning Cheng. Especially when she knew that she could not get out of this place, this kind of subconscious thought was even more obvious. Good. Ning Cheng finished, as he took out 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones and sprinkled them into the blood river in front of him, while simultaneously bringing out a dozen array flags, and finally threw a best-quality spirit stone into the blood river. Just a few breaths later, the blood river suddenly began to churn, as a thick spiritual chi mist formed a whirlpool. This whirlpool was getting bigger and bigger, as it slowly wrapped around the three people. When the three people were unable to even release their spiritual consciousness, they immediately felt their bodies become light. A burst of dizziness washed over them, as Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan appeared at the foot of the endless blood river peaks. Did we really come out? Xiang Jilan was ecstatic as she looked at the endless blood river peaks around her. Even if she died of old age in this law's way, it would still be much better than dying at the bottom of the blood river where there was not even a bit of spiritual chi. Senior apprentice brother Ning. The first thing that Yan Ji saw was not that she and Xiang Jilan had come out, but rather that Ning Qing had not come out. Chapter 221. Ah, Ning Qing really didn't come out. Xiang Jilan also discovered that Ning Cheng was not here. only she and Yan Ji had come out. I'm afraid that the spiritual sacrifice ceremony can only allow 2 people to come out at most. Senior apprentice brother Ning gave the opportunity to the 2 of us. Ning Cheng had saved her twice in a row, and she had wanted to save Ning Cheng once, but instead had ended up blocking Ning Cheng's path to survival. Xiang Zhilan pulled Yan Ji's hand and spoke, "It shouldn't be like that, there might be some other problem with the spiritual sacrifice ceremony. Let's go to Blood River Mountain first and wait for him outside." Yan Ji suddenly asked, "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, does the Blood River Mountains mean that as long as you stay there for more than 3 years, you will not be able to enter? If we go out this time, it should be impossible for us to come back, right?" Xiang Zhilan nodded and spoke, "That's right, the Blood River Mountains can only be entered by people who have been in the law's way for less than 3 years, but they can also stay here for as long as they want. Once they left, they would not be able to enter again. But you don't have to worry, junior apprentice brother Ning Cheng is a good person, and is also a genius. I have been at the bottom of the Blood River for so many years, but I have never seen anyone who could find the way out. He might be the only one. Since he was able to find a way out once, then he should be able to find a way out a second time." Xiang Zhilan comforted Yan Ji. Yan Ji shook her head, "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, even a single best quality spirit stone is already a huge opportunity, how can there be 2? Even if he had a way to get out, he would not be able to do so without top quality spirit stones. He and that Feng Yushan are not on good terms, even Grey Toot Toot came out with me, he is doomed to be alone inside." Seeing Yan Ji constantly looking at the Blood River peak, Xiang Zhilan's heart immediately tensed up. Junior apprentice sister Yan Ji wouldn't want to enter the bottom of the Blood River again, right? If she thought that way, it would be crazy. "Junior apprentice sister Ji, let's go out first. Even with our current abilities, we can't save him. Junior apprentice brother Ning had finally managed to get us out of here, we must cherish this opportunity." Xiang Zhilan hastily tried to persuade her, as she tried to make her tone as gentle as possible. Yan Ji sighed, and only spoke after a long time, "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, I always feel that I owe him. I don't like to owe people anything, let alone a life. But. Xiang Zhilan thought for a moment, and finally spoke, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, the fact is that Ning Cheng might feel that he owes you something in his heart, so you should not think too much about it. On the path of cultivation, one should avoid this kind of mentality the most. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, in addition to saving me from the hands of Feng Yushan, Ning Cheng has already saved me 3 times. This time, maybe it was also because of me, that he did not come out, how could he possibly owe me?" Yan Ji looked at Xiang Zhilan in complete confusion. Xiang Zhilan's face turned slightly red as she spoke, "Ning Cheng, in order to check whether or not you have Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag on your body, he should have used his spiritual consciousness to probe your entire body. Originally, only Ning Cheng and I knew about this matter, but now that Ning Cheng has not come out, even if I tell you, you don't have to take it to heart." In Xiang Zhilan's view, Yan Ji was a young girl with a bright future ahead of her. For a rogue cultivator like Ning Cheng to spy on her entire body, it was obvious that Ning Cheng had taken advantage of her. Yan Ji's face also turned blood red, but she did not feel surprised. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, do you know about this matter?" Xiang Zhilan saw that Yan Ji was not very excited, and asked in a puzzled manner. Yan Ji nodded and spoke, "I guessed some of it, but I didn't dare to confirm it. Now that you've said it, I'm sure of it." She was a genius disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy, even if she was distracted at that time, and did not think of this matter. Afterwards, she could also guess that it was because Ning Cheng had seen her body, that he was sure that she did not have a spiritual consciousness tag on her body. If Ning Cheng knew that Yan Ji was thinking like this, he would have definitely cried out in injustice. He had seen Xiang Zhilan's body, but he really had not checked Yan Ji's body. "Senior apprentice sister, you are holding my hand, are you afraid that I would suddenly rush up to the Blood River peak, and then deliberately enter the bottom of the Blood River?" Yan Ji suddenly spoke. Xiang Zhilan somewhat awkwardly let go of Yan Ji's hand and spoke, I was thinking too much, you should not do such a crazy thing. You have to know, even if you went in again, you would not necessarily be able to find Ning Cheng, moreover the possibility of you falling into the hands of Feng Yushan is even greater. Yan Ji's tone became somewhat faint, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, do you think that my character is not even a little bit gentle, moreover I am careless and do not care about trifles? Even speaking without any scruples. There are a few, but it doesn't matter. Cultivating the Tao is just to act according to your heart, you don't have to care about other things. Xiang Zhilan really felt that Yan Ji was lacking a young girl's modesty, sometimes the words that she spoke were not like what a young girl would say. Senior Apprentice Sister, you should know about the Gue Yuan City, right? It is one of the 3 9-star academies of the Luk continent, alongside the Wu Nian Academy and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. Yan Ji did not continue with the previous topic, but rather changed the topic to another place. I know. Yan Ji sighed and spoke, the Luk continent has a saying, the first 4 sentences are, twin lotus flowers, begonia blossoms, heavenly stars, half-riding clouds. What do you mean? It refers to the 9 genius disciples, among which the twin lotus flowers refers to me from the Blue Cloud Academy in Nalan Rushue from the Wu Nian Academy. The begonia blossoms refers to the 3 siblings of the Gue Yuan City, Gue Yuhai, Gue Yutang and Gue Yuhua. The heavenly stars refers to our academy's genius senior apprentice brother Kue Tian and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Bei Xingjin, while the half-riding clouds refers to the Wu Nian Academy's Cheng Yixiao and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Luo Banyun. Xiang Zhilan immediately understood, as she gave a wry smile and spoke, it seems that in the 100 years that I have been trapped here, the Luk continent has produced a lot of talents. Yan Ji spoke up, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, don't you think that the origins of these people are very fixed? The 3 9-star academies and our Blue Cloud Academy. Even a fool would know that the Blue Cloud Academy is about to become a 9-star academy. The Blue Cloud Academy had the strength to become a 9-star academy 100 years ago, so it is not unusual for it to become a 9-star academy. Xiang Zhilan certainly did not think that the Blue Cloud Academy did not have the qualifications to become a 9-star academy. In fact, in the Luk continent, the 3 9-star academies have been in balance for a long time, while the strength of the Wu Nian Academy has declined greatly. They are not willing to let the Blue Cloud Academy become the 4th 9-star academy in the Luk continent, so they have joined forces to resist the Blue Cloud Academy. But in recent years, the Blue Cloud Academy has been producing many geniuses, and is incomparably exuberant. The Blue Cloud Academy's senior apprentice brother Kue Tian is less than 50 years old, but already has the cultivation of Soul Essence Realm, other than the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Luo Banyun, no one can compare to him. In order to win over the Gue Yuan City to support the Blue Cloud Academy, the Blue Cloud Academy came to the Gue Yuan City to propose marriage, hoping that Gue Yuhua and senior apprentice brother Kue Tian can become Tao companions. Listening to Yan Ji's words, Xiang Zhilan immediately spoke up, this is a good thing. What's wrong with it? Yan Ji spoke in a depressed tone, the Wu Nian Academy knows that their strength is not as good as the Blue Cloud Academy, so they also want to win over the Gue Yuan City, and want to take the initiative to betroth Nalan Rushue to Gue Yuhai. The Blue Cloud Academy is afraid that the Gue Yuan City and the Wu Nian Academy would form an alliance, which would be detrimental to the advancement of the Blue Cloud Academy to a 9-star academy, so. Xiang Zhilan understood, it should be that the Blue Cloud Academy, in order to win over the Gue Yuan City, also wanted to betroth Yan Ji to Gue Yuhai. If this kind of thing happened to her, she certainly would not have any resistance. Gue Yuhai being able to become a genius disciple, his qualifications were definitely heaven-defying. Presumably, his status in the Gue Yuan City was also not low, to be able to become Tao companions with such a person, it would not be a bad thing. But as for Yan Ji, in her heart she somewhat understood Yan Ji's thoughts. Yan Ji also knew the meaning of Xiang Zhilan's words, she once again sighed and said, originally I was cultivated by the Blue Cloud Academy, moreover this move of the Blue Cloud Academy is also for my own good, although they have not explicitly mentioned this matter. But this time after coming out of the law's way, they will definitely mention it. I know that Guo Yuhai likes women who are as gentle as water. I deliberately spoke and did not stick to trifles, but also wanted him to choose Nalan Rushua. But now, Ning Chenghe. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, I understand. Xiang Jilan once again grabbed Yan Ji's hand and spoke. She knew what Yan Ji wanted to say, and also understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng was not dead yet, he had seen Yan Ji's body, Yan Ji still had a favorable impression of him, moreover he had continuously saved Yan Ji several times. In this case, for a woman like Yan Ji, to marry another man, for Yan Ji, it was indeed somewhat unfair. In the Yixing mainland, although a man can marry 3 wives and 4 concubines, and can also have more than one Dao companion, but a woman must be faithful to one person, and scrupulously abide by the virtue of a woman. Ning Cheng had seen Yan Ji's body, in a sense, Yan Ji was already one of Ning Cheng's people. For her to protect Ning Cheng's body, it was also something that she ought to do. Seeing that her senior apprentice sister understood her meaning, Yan Ji gave a faint smile and spoke, moreover Grey Toot Toot is still here with me. Senior apprentice sister, you have experienced 100 years of loneliness, presumably you should know that kind of suffering. I was almost unable to endure it for 3 years. Now that I have made a choice, then I do not want him to experience that 100 years of loneliness, that kind of taste. If one does not experience it, then they will never understand how terrible it is. Saying that, she patted Grey Toot Toot who was in her bosom, and slowly turned around and once again walked towards one of the Blood River peaks. Xiang Jilan looked at Yan Ji's somewhat lonely back, and suddenly felt that her throat was somewhat blocked. After fully understanding Yan Ji's meaning, she did not think that Yan Ji had done anything wrong. If she was replaced with her, then she would also have made the same choice. But from the time she started cultivating until now, besides finding a symbolic Tao companion, she had never really liked a person, nor had she ever loved a person. But she understood Yan Ji's mood. This kind of understanding was something that had been exchanged for 100 years of loneliness. Chapter 222. Ning Cheng wanted to find Feng Yushan, but Feng Yushan also wanted to find Ning Cheng. He was very depressed in his heart. He had never thought that the spiritual consciousness tag that he had placed on Xiang Jilan's body would unexpectedly be found out. Ning Cheng continued to refine all kinds of talismans. The Tao charm that he sensed from the pale golden talisman started to circulate around his body. At the same time, he once again started to absorb the surrounding spiritual qi. At this moment, he started to condense the talismans and cultivate unconsciously. Ning Cheng knew that because of that pale golden talisman, he had completely fallen into a state of epiphany. He didn't know how long he had been meditating, but he was very clear about what he had gained from this enlightenment. After more than 2 months of preparation, Feng Yushan was once again ready to go out with the rest of the people to look for Ning Cheng, when Ning Cheng actually came knocking on their door. Ning Cheng took back his fiery gaze, and looked at the pile of talismans in front of him. He could not even believe that he had refined them. How much time would it take to refine so many talismans? Golden rays of light surrounded the talisman, and ancient Tao charm flowed over it. Ning Cheng felt as if he had entered a whole new world. He felt as if the world around him had completely disappeared, and only this talisman remained in his mind. It seems that Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan had already gone out for a few months. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh. An endless variety of talismans started to form in Ning Cheng's hands, from grade 1 to grade 2. With the lack of spiritual qi, Ning Cheng once again sprinkled out 1,000,000 spirit stones, before continuing to condense more talismans. It wasn't just the understanding of spells and cultivation, the understanding of the origin, but also the understanding of talismans. Because of this epiphany, he managed to cultivate to the profound congealing 7th level, and because of this epiphany, from a cultivator who could only refine some simple level 1 talismans, to a level 5 talisman Grand Master. Crack. A slight sound shattered this eternal image. At the same time, the Dao charms surrounding Ning Qing also dissipated without a trace. Since he took the initiative to come out, you can all go back first. Feng Yushan spoke to the rest of the cultivators, and with a flash, he immediately chased after Ning Qing. This time, he would never let Ning Qing disappear from his sight. There were at least 10 to 20,000 talismans here. Ning Qing, who was being pulled down, was not aware of it at all. He was just sitting in the same place, and using his spiritual consciousness to communicate with the huge talisman that he could only see with his eyes, through the spiritual chi fluctuations caused by the spiritual sacrifice a moment ago. Spirit mist, talisman refinement. He still had some confidence in his ability to place a spiritual consciousness tag, even if Xiang Zhilan knew that he had placed a spiritual consciousness tag. In order to find him, she would have to settle down and spend a long time. With such a long time, he could definitely catch up with the Ning Qing trio. However, reality was always somewhat different from what he had imagined. In less than half a day, he had lost track of the three of them. The duration of this epiphany would definitely not be short, however, for Ning Qing, the duration of this epiphany was still too short. This talisman was absolutely extraordinary. It actually contained a type of source energy. Could it be that this was the source of the talisman? Ning Qing looked at the pale golden talisman in front of him with covetous eyes, and in his heart longed for this talisman to become his. The talisman condensed from spiritual qi quickly dissipated, but Ning Qing once again condensed it. In the end, he directly abandoned using spiritual energy to condense, and began to use materials to condense talismans. Then a rank 1 wind edge talisman formed from pure spiritual qi was quickly condensed out by him. Wind edge talisman, fireball talisman, thunder and lightning talisman, congealing rain talisman, returning spring talisman. However, he soon became happy again. The strength of the profound congealing 7th level was several times stronger than the strength of the profound congealing 5th level. He could feel the true essence fluctuations throughout his body giving out a gurgling sound. Even his core lake was much stronger and more solid than before. His cultivation was constantly improving, while the talismans were constantly piling up. It was not a day or two since he had obtained the mysterious yellow bead. As such, Ning Qing was very clear that his thirst for the origin was greater than anything else. At this moment when he discovered the aura of the origin, how could he let it go, as his spiritual consciousness immediately rushed towards it. He unknowingly broke through the intermediate stages of the profound congealing realm, and advanced to the profound congealing 7th level. But his actions of refining talismans also came to an end. He had only managed to refine a rank 5 talisman, and was interrupted by this advancement. Even in the depths of Ning Qing's consciousness, he hoped that this kind of eternity would continue. He wanted to move forward without end, whether it was his cultivation or his level of talismans. You're quite self-aware. You know that if I go looking for you, you won't be able to escape. Since you know what's good for you, then I can leave you a complete. Feng Yushan's first thought on seeing Ning Qing was that Ning Qing would not be able to stay in Ningqing, but he immediately felt that something was wrong, as he did not see Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan. However, he was very clear that he absolutely couldn't obtain this talisman with his current ability. Not to mention that he couldn't even cross the Blood River. Even if he could cross the Blood River, he probably wouldn't be able to obtain such a big talisman. However, the talismans condensed from materials would not dissipate. Rank 1 offensive talismans, defensive talismans, rank 2 talismans. Feng Yushan, I don't believe that I can't beat you now. Ning Qing raised his hand and blasted out an axe fist. The axe intent surged out like a real substance, causing the surroundings to buzz. The murderous aura overflowed in all directions, causing ripples to form in the tranquil river of blood. At best, Feng Yushan was only relying on a soul essence puppet. If he blasted out tens of thousands of talismans, then he did not believe that he would not be able to block a single soul essence puppet. He wanted the twin radiant heavenly clouds leaves. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, heaven, man, wind, thunder, lightning, time and space transformation, darkness and light. He did not know for how long, but the spiritual chi above the blood river suddenly became thin. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was suddenly interrupted and pushed back. He was no longer able to communicate with the pale golden talisman. Ning Cheng swept his eyes over the dozens of pale cultivators behind Feng Yushan, before his eyes once again fell on Feng Yushan's body. If you want this thing, then come with me. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with happiness, as he did not continue to forcibly communicate with this big talisman. He knew that he had already obtained a lot. This was an opportunity that belonged to him. At this moment, his hands were involuntarily making a variety of gestures. In the future, when my cultivation is high enough, I must come back, and take away this talisman. Ning Cheng stared at the talisman, as he spoke with a fiery heart. He had only used his spiritual consciousness to sense the surface of this talisman, and was already able to obtain such a big opportunity. Once he obtained this talisman, then wouldn't it be even better? Ning Cheng was very sensitive to the origin aura, as such he immediately perceived that it was a kind of origin aura. Moreover, it was completely different from the origin aura of the mysterious yellow bead, as well as the origin aura that he had felt at the bottom of the river in the Angry Axe Valley. Ning Cheng suddenly opened his eyes. He did not know if he was happy or annoyed. If there was someone beside him at this time, then they would be able to clearly see that Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan were sent out because of the power of the transmission, while Ning Cheng was pulled down because of an invisible force. When Ning Cheng felt his whole body become light, he thought that he had succeeded, as it was a sign that he had been sent out. But then his spiritual consciousness was able to communicate with a very strange aura. This kind of aura was originally isolated by the curved blood river. Because of the million high-grade spirit stones that he had thrown out, the rich spiritual chi generated by it was able to send this aura into his sea of consciousness. Feng Yushan did not even want to speak. As he raised his hand and waved out his soul essence puppet, he knew that Ning Cheng was very powerful. Without a puppet to pin down Ning Cheng, he was really afraid that Ning Cheng would escape again. Even if he had to escape, he would have to get rid of this Feng Yushan. Ning Cheng was not a good person. Initially he could not beat Feng Yushan, and was even chased by the opposite party. But now he was sure that he was not afraid of this Feng Yushan, so what was there to worry about? Feng Yushan immediately saw the entrapment array formation behind Ning Cheng. As he sneered in his heart, no wonder he had the courage to come looking for him. It turned out that he had arranged an entrapment array formation. Did he want to use this entrapment array formation to trap his soul essence puppet? Stop dreaming. A trace of Tao charm was engraved in Ning Cheng's mind, from vague to clear. The pale golden-colored talisman was covered with a halo of light, as if it contained the inexhaustible truth of the Grand Tao. Saying that, Ning Cheng did not speak any nonsense, and directly escaped. He believed that Feng Yushan would definitely catch up with him. If he was given a little more time, then maybe he would be able to advance to the Tier 6 Talisman Grandmaster. Unfortunately, his epiphany was interrupted by the advancement of his cultivation. If he wanted to become a Tier 6 Talisman Grandmaster, then he would have to rely on himself to slowly accumulate experience. Compared to the epiphany, this might be a long and boring process. Ning Cheng did not go far, before he stopped. Cultivation really was based on opportunities. If there were no opportunities, then it would be nothing. He had obtained the opportunity from the huge talisman, allowing him to easily become a Tier 5 Talisman Grandmaster. For an ordinary person, this was simply unimaginable. He still had one last best quality spirit stone on him. After he killed Feng Yushan, it would not be too late to leave this place. In order to find the Ning Cheng trio, before he let everyone set off, he had also refined a batch of array flags. Letting everyone search for the places, he used the array flags to mark them, so that they would definitely be able to find the Ning Cheng trio, no matter where they were hiding. This seemed to be an eternal picture. It did not change at all. There was only eternal action. When Ning Cheng's cultivation reached the profound congealing 6th level, he was already able to condense level 3 talismans. After searching for more than a month, Feng Yushan once again returned to the place where he lived. He decided to let all the cultivators here to search together. With more than 30 people looking for the Ningqing trio, he did not believe that they would not be able to find them. This place was vast and boundless, but it was only a grand array. Hua! Ningqing once again scattered out 1,000,000 spirit stones. Ningqing's entire body trembled with excitement. He had seen all the things that he did not understand before in this talisman. These things were things that no one had ever taught him, or rather even if there was no one who could understand it so clearly. At this time, the Tao charm circulating around him was getting thinner and thinner, while Ningqing's cultivation was constantly improving under this Tao charm, causing the speed at which he was refining the talismans was also getting faster and faster. At this time, not only was the spiritual qi transformed from the spirit stones around Ningqing, even the spiritual qi from the blood river was also gathering together, as it swirled around Ningqing's body. After all, a puppet was a puppet, and not a person. It was certainly impossible for him to cast a wide range of magical techniques. As long as he used the dense talismans to pin down the puppet, he would be able to kill Feng Yushan alone. Ningqing deliberately placed the cosmic true devil axe on his back, while at the same time quickly stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings, and went straight towards Feng Yushan's lair. Chapter 223. Feng Yushan was eager to get rid of Ningqing, but Ningqing and Feng Yushan had the same idea. He was also eager to get rid of Feng Yushan. At the same time that Feng Yushan's puppet came out, Ningqing immediately brought out his cosmic true devil axe, while simultaneously throwing out a dozen array flags. Although he had a lot of talismans, but he was afraid that the level was too low to contain Feng Yushan. As such he simply arranged a rank 4 killing array. Ningqing could also arrange a rank 5 killing array, but the materials required for a rank 5 killing array were too precious. Even if it was Ningqing, he would not have enough precious materials to arrange an array. Feng Yushan had stayed here for many years, as such his level of array formations was not bad. Even when it came to arranging array formations, he was not any weaker than Ningqing. Therefore, he simply did not put Ningqing's array formations in his eyes. Ningqing was such a young cultivator, even if his array formations were powerful, it would still be limited. When Ningqing turned the entrapment array into a rank 4 killing array, he only showed a hint of sarcasm at the corner of his mouth. A rank 4 killing array wanted to kill his rank 6 soul essence puppet. Just keep dreaming. While he brought out his yin-yang twin locks, he also threw out a dozen array flags. The yin-yang twin locks rolled up 2 distinct yin and yang murderous auras. These 2 murderous auras in just a twinkling of an eye transformed into 2 red and blue murderous dragons in the sky. The surrounding air was much more viscous than the first time, but Ningqing's cultivation was not something that his profound congealing 5th level cultivation could compare to. Compared to the 2 true essence balls formed by the 2 murderous dragons, these 2 murderous dragons brought with them a terrifying aura as they rushed towards Ningqing. At the same time, Ningqing's killing array also came to a halt because of the array flags thrown out by Feng Yushan. The soul essence puppet slapped down with its huge palm, and a corner of the killing array instantly turned to dust. Seeing these 2 murderous dragons with completely different murderous auras, Ningqing knew that when he and Feng Yushan had fought for the first time, he had not used his full strength. The cosmic true devil axe also rolled up a berserk murderous aura, bringing with it a trace of the demonic nature's devouring power, as it tore open a long and twisted axe trace, while the surroundings of this axe trace split open into many tiny axe lines. Ningqing's true essence and axe intent continued to surge, while at the same time, he also threw out thousands of talismans. The distorted axe trace and the yin-yang twin dragons immediately clashed together, causing the violent distorted axe trace and the yin-yang slaughter aura to twist together. Boom 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 boom, the sound of true essence exploding completely blew apart the entire space. Because of this collision of killing intents, the originally calm and tranquil area became unstable. In just a single move, Feng Yushan's heart instantly sank. Ningqing's cultivation had once again grown a lot stronger compared to the time when they had fought. But this was far from the end. The sound of the explosion did not disappear because of the weakening of the axe line and the diminishing of the yin-yang slaughter aura. No, it didn't weaken. Instead, the sound of explosions grew louder and louder. All sorts of terrifying killing auras shot out in all directions, as if a gunpowder store had been lit. "You're crazy." Feng Yushan was swept away by this kind of berserk killing intent. He quickly understood what was going on. Ning Cheng had unexpectedly sprinkled out thousands of talismans at once. "How much wealth does that take, madman?" Under the endless explosions of talismans, the sixth-grade puppet continued to attack. Although these talismans could not harm the puppet for a while, the puppet could not rush out of the explosion of the talismans in a short time. Ning Cheng was secretly startled in his heart. He did not think that even with so many talismans, they would not be able to cause any damage to the sixth-grade puppet. Do not look at these exploding talismans. In fact, for this sixth-grade puppet, it was just like setting off firecrackers. Even if his talismans exploded, the puppet would still be a sixth-grade puppet. Almost without thinking about it, Ning Cheng once again threw out thousands of talismans, while the remaining nearly 10,000 talismans, all of them were thrown towards Feng Yushan. No one could use talismans like Ning Cheng. Even if other people had tens of thousands of talismans, they would not be able to activate them in an instant. But Ning Cheng could. These talismans were refined by him. When he was ready to kill Feng Yushan, he had already prepared himself. As such, all the talismans were already in a state of activation. Madman! Feng Yushan, on seeing Ning Cheng sprinkle out tens of thousands of talismans, was finally unable to contain the panic in his heart. Even if he had a puppet, and was also a profound core 9th level cultivator, he was not willing to resist the explosion of so many talismans. The two of them had only exchanged a single move, and he already wanted to escape. If he knew that Ning Cheng was going to use this method to deal with him, he would have definitely come up with a countermeasure, and not let the talismans bombard him like this. Rank 4 and below talismans would not cause much harm to him. At most it would only cause him minor injuries, but there were also countless rank 4 and even a few rank 5 talismans. How could he fight against them? Countless fireballs, wind blades, lightning bolts, and axe lights bombarded him. In just a few breaths, Feng Yushan was already covered in cuts and bruises. "Let's go." Feng Yushan immediately thought of this, as he immediately withdrew his puppet and retreated. Feng Yushan's thoughts of leaving together with him, Ning Cheng was aware of it. Since he had lured Feng Yushan here, how could he let the other party escape? He had the twin heavenly cloud wings, and was able to stay out of the range of the explosion of the talismans. Seeing that Feng Yushan wanted to escape, he did not hesitate to bring out his cosmic true devil axe. Angry Axe's second form, Tornado. The explosive axe intent rolled up into an incomparably berserk tornado. At this moment, whether it was the killing intent of the angry axe, or the blade lights from the explosion of the talismans, or even the yin-yang slaughter aura from Feng Yushan's yin-yang dual locks, all of them were swept up by this incomparably berserk tornado axe intent, as it exploded towards Feng Yushan. The surroundings were completely sealed off by Ning Cheng's axe. Other than resisting this axe head-on, Feng Yushan simply had no other way out. Feng Yushan's combat experience was incomparably old. At this time, how could he not know that if he continued to escape, then he would only end up as a target? He did not even care about the trapped puppet, as he directly disappeared from sight. The terrifying explosion of the talismans continued, but Feng Yushan had already disappeared. Ning Cheng's berserk axe killing vortex unexpectedly could not find a target. Bang! The berserk angry axe killing intent had already formed a huge vortex. After not finding a target, it directly exploded into the middle of the sand. The huge gully that was formed by the explosion of the talismans and the true essence, once again tore it apart even more. Ning Cheng saw that the rank 6 puppet was still subconsciously moving, but without Feng Yushan's command, it was obviously sluggish. Ning Cheng did not know where Feng Yushan had run off to, but he knew one thing, that was, even if he were to find Feng Yushan, he would have to deal with this puppet first. He did not have tens of thousands of talismans that he could consume at any time. This puppet was able to smash a corner of a rank 4 killing array into pieces with just a slap. It was absolutely not something that he could block. Throwing out dozens of array flags, Ning Cheng in the shortest possible time arranged an iron bucket-like entrapment array. Regardless of whether Feng Yushan managed to escape or not, he would not be careless. The actions of the rank 6 soul essence puppet finally came to a stop. Even if it was a powerful puppet, it was still just a puppet. Ning Cheng was constantly placing restrictions on the puppet. This puppet was something that he would have to put away first, and then slowly study it in his spare time. In just a short period of time, the puppet was still safe and sound from the explosion of the talismans, but Ning Cheng had already tied it up like a dumpling with restrictions, and threw it into his storage ring. Ning Cheng was slightly relieved. Even if Feng Yushan came back, without this puppet, he would not have to fear this person anymore. Just a moment ago there were no fluctuations in the surrounding space. Ning Cheng did not believe that Feng Yushan would have used something similar to the blood-escaping talisman to escape. After putting away the puppet, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness carefully searched the entrapment array. At this time the explosion of the talismans was coming to an end. All kinds of dust and sand, under the control of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, were not able to hide at all. A moment later, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on a ring that was hidden in the middle of the sand. He sneered in his heart, hiding inside his own ring. The moment Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on the ring, Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness immediately transmitted over. Elder brother Cheng, we can talk things out. I and Xiang Jilan are also friends, moreover I have always helped her. Towards junior apprentice sister Yan Ji, I have always taken good care of her. I admit that I coveted your twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, for which I would like to apologize to you. In addition to giving you the rank 6 puppet, I also have other benefits for you. As long as you let me go once, we are all trapped in this place. What kind of grievances would there be that cannot be solved? Feng Yushan at this time was very regretful in his heart, because he had underestimated Ning Cheng. His rank 6 soul essence puppet could not even display a tenth of its strength. If he had known earlier, he would not have made his move in the beginning. If he had been supervising the puppet's battle with Ning Cheng, then perhaps Ning Cheng would have already been killed by him. Your ring can be used as a shelter. It's something new. I am lacking such a thing. My spiritual beast bag is not as good as your ring. For Grey Toot Toot to live in the spiritual beast bag is a bit aggrieved. Ning Cheng did not answer the question. As he spoke, at the same time he threw down an array flag, completely imprisoning the ring. Feng Yushan was not as strong as Ning Cheng. Now that he was imprisoned in an array formation by Ning Cheng, other than begging Ning Cheng to spare him, he had no other way. Even if he gnashed his teeth in hatred, there was nothing he could do. Elder brother Cheng, this is a somewhat broken miniature world. If elder brother Cheng wants it, I can certainly give it to you. Otherwise, even if I blow up the miniature world, you would not be able to obtain it. Feng Yushan knew that at this time he did not have any cards up his sleeves. He could only take advantage of Ning Cheng's greed, to see if he could escape from this calamity. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Feng Yushan quickly added, my miniature world is rich in spiritual qi, moreover there is also a variety of spiritual grass gardens. The reason why I can advance in this place is because of this miniature world. If not for the fact that I cannot cross the tribulation in this place, I would have already advanced to the soul essence realm. Ning Cheng knew that what Feng Yushan said might be true, because he had seen the heaven-opening talisman. The space in this place was incomparably firm, and was completely imprisoned by the heaven-opening talisman. When a cultivator advanced to the soul essence realm, they would need to cross the thunder tribulation. Since this space was sealed, then of course they would not be able to cross the tribulation. Is that so? Then why don't you come out first, and give me the miniature world? Ning Cheng was afraid that Feng Yushan would really blow up the miniature world, which was definitely not a good thing. Having such a good thing, for him, it was simply a good thing. Although he had entered the mysterious yellow bead once, but it was completely desolate inside. There was only a yellow misty color, not to mention that there was no life force or the ability to grow spiritual grasses. If you make a poison oath to let me go, then I will give you the miniature world. Feng Yushan fiercely spoke. He had already seen Ning Cheng's treachery and cunning a few times. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.